evening. I hope you guys are doing well today, and I'm excited about another day to be on the stream with you. I'm using a new microphone. So, this is the first time I've ever used this new microphone. So, let me know if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, I need to know because I need to switch out the microphones. I don't know how it sounds. It's my first time using it. Let me know too where you're tuning in from. I'd love to hear where is it that you are tuning in from. We have all the way from Canada. Thank you for tuning in from Canada. Do you guys root for the Cardinals in Canada? Just wondering. Okay. Smiley says, blessings to you. Blessings to you. Great to have you guys on here. Somebody's saying, I can't hear you, can't hear you, can't hear you. Oh, yeah, we can hear you. So if you can't, many people sounds like you can hear me. From Kentucky, Cheryl, I already know. If you're from Missouri, you got to be a Cardinal fan. All right. We got Cheyenne from Michigan and from Ohio. Judith tuning in from Florida. I can hear you fine. Thank you, Elaney, for letting me know. I'm glad that you can hear me. Can hear you clear as a bell. Great. This is a better microphone, so it should be sounding better, but it makes me nervous since I've never used it, and I can't hear myself ever, so I don't really know how it's working or not. Chris tuning in from Calgary. Thank you, Chris, for tuning in all the way from Calgary. I've never been to Calgary. I would like to go sometime, so I'll put that on my list of things that I'm asking the Lord for me to do. Send me to Calgary. Wouldn't that be awesome? If you're just tuning in to something that you can do that'd be really helpful, if you can hit the like button on the video, that shoots us out into the YouTube algorithm. When you do that, when you shoot us out into the YouTube algorithm, basically what that does, it sends us into the homepage of YouTube. So a lot of people can then be able to click on the video that'd be interested in this anyways, interested in this topic already. Cherie says, Roll Tide, Alabama. I've been to Alabama several times. Great. I have a lot of great fun there. In fact, one of my friends, he played football for Alabama. He has a lot of championship rings that cover all of his fingers because you get one for winning the conference SEC, you get one for winning the national title. Bubbly Blonde. I'm from Las Vegas. I work for a ministry called Intentional Churches, headquartered out of Las Vegas. So I've spent quite a bit of time in Las Vegas at Central Christian Church and at the Crossing at Canyon Ridge. Susan from Arizona. Great to have you, Susan from Arizona. We have Marie from Massachusetts. Somebody named Talina. You're tuning in from your living room in Iowa. All right, great. K. Beth from Long Island, New York. How far from Long Island, New York are you compared to where, like, I don't know how big Long Island is. How far are you from like the area where the Petito family would have been? I'm interested in that. We have Belinda from Myrtle Beach. We have Gray Wolf from New Jersey. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'm excited about the stream. I do have a question that I put in the chat, and I want you guys to be able to answer it, a poll question, because it's important subject based on what we're talking about today. So if you haven't answered it already, please answer it. Should Brian Laundrie be considered dangerous? Should Brian Laundrie be considered dangerous? Let me know what you think about that, because I'm definitely curious about your thoughts. Should he be considered dangerous? And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button on the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I'm so excited to be on this stream with you guys. We had a great time last night. Had lots of good conversations. Had lots of good call-ins. Avery left us on a cliffhanger last night. Hopefully we can circle back around today on what she left us on. My throat's feeling a little scratchy, so I got some water in my cup so I can make sure it doesn't get too scratchy tonight. Court says, I think he is not alive. Robert says he's a danger to young girls. Okay, I agree with that. Like if you're in that age category, you got to be careful. If you're in a, early 20s, young 20s, even a little bit older, I think you got to be careful. Maggie, thank you so much for joining the Feller fam today. It means a whole lot to have you as a part of the Feller fam. Excited about new emojis that are going to be coming out. I was working on one today, but I couldn't get it out in time, of a female detective, because we have so many incredible female detectives that are part of our online community here. And so just as I was preparing and trying to come up with new emoji ideas, I thought, how cool would it be for us to have sort of like a female emoji that could represent so many of the amazing female detectives that we have in this group as a part of the Feller fam. And so I was working on that today. I don't know when I'll be able to have it come out, but maybe I'll have it come out tomorrow. I'm kind of busy, so I don't always have time to work on everything that I want to for this channel. Alyssa says, I love that idea for an emoji. Good. I wondered too what other emoji ideas you have. The poker face one that I have on there, it's hard to see because it's 3 little emojis and it's so small. So I think I need to change that one out for a different poker face emoji, because I think a lot of what we're talking about is people using poker faces. So I think that'd be really cool if we did that. Hello from PA. Thank you for joining. Hello from Medford, Oregon. Thank you for being here. So good to have you guys. Somebody says Patty Puppet. Patty sent me a puppet show that she created. One puppet was me, one puppet was Gavis. And so very interesting. It's top secret. I can't let you know what was said on the puppet show that she sent me, but it was a really good puppet show. Okay. Sammy, way to kick us off. He's been hidden indoors or sheltered somewhere well. I think a lot of people can catch on board with that. There's a couple different theories I have of where Brian may be. That's one of them. Where is he hiding at? And I think that's, somebody's hiding him. That's a major possibility in all of that. So let me go over this article with you, because people are like, what do you mean? But maybe we're not going to have as many people click on the video today, I think, because the title of the video impacts it a lot. But I said, Brian Laundrie, a dangerous chameleon. I'm asking the question, is Brian Laundrie a dangerous chameleon? And the reason why is because his coworker said that. I want to share this news article with you and just let you know what that means. According to his friend, a former coworker of Brian Laundrie has revealed that the fugitive was kind of a guy who would get angry pretty quickly and always had clean hands despite working with plants and soil at a Long Island garden. Michael Livingston, 31, a landscaper at a nursery where Laundrie did odd jobs, told Fox News Digital that he worked with him during 2017 and 2018. He never came across as the kind of person that would be the killing type, but he did have the tendency to be, I don't want to say the wrong thing and make him sound worse than he already is. He was kind of a guy who would get angry pretty quickly, Livingston told the outlet. I remember from back then, he was a big yoga nut, always telling me, I got to worry about my Zen. And I thought he was this weirdo, he said, adding that his former coworker had this volatile personality. And then he says this, of a chameleon. Well, if you're not familiar with what a chameleon is, I think you all know what it is, but it's a lizard that can change its color based on what it's next to. It sort of fits into the environment. I find that a really interesting sort of thought when we're describing Brian Laundrie. What do you guys think? Interesting thought or not? Livingston, who said he had met Gabby Petito when she visited her boyfriend at the business, told Fox News at a Sunday fundraiser on Long Island for her family that he had never witnessed him being mean or abusive towards her. But he said Laundrie did appear to be jealous when he noticed her talking to other guys. Well, we're not surprised about that. He would come over to do the boyfriend thing, put his arm around her, give her a kiss. Very possessive. Again, not surprised about that. So jealous, possessive. That's what we have so far. Jealous and possessive. Surprised? I'm not. Livingston also described Laundrie as a good employee who knew how to talk to people. Knows how to talk to people. Jealous, possessive, knows how to talk to people. He added, he knew how to make people like him. He knew how to make people happy, and he knew how to make people buy the product that we had on us. He had the same kind of air you would be taught if you worked at a dealership. The former colleague said Petito would ask employees how they were doing and talked about the travel plans. Gabby, well, she was always a sweetheart, very peaceful. She was always really nice, and she was really outgoing. Laundrie, who has not been named a suspect in Petito's death, is the subject of a massive manhunt after he returned from what he told his parents was a hike, after he never returned from what he told his parents was a hike of the 25,000-acre Carlton Reserve in Florida. Once I realized that the person who was missing was somebody that I actually knew, it hit me like a tidal wave, Livingston told the outlet. I think the only reason why she settled for him is he wanted to travel. Interesting thought. So there's some pictures of them. Authorities have been on the hunt since September 18th for the fugitive, who is wanted on a federal arrest warrant for using Petito's stolen bank card after she disappeared. Her remains were found in a Wyoming park on September 19th. So, very interesting. When we read about this report from the coworker, he says she was that he says about Laundrie, he was jealous, he was possessive, and he had a way with talking to people. Are you surprised at that at all? He was charming. It's a big clue. It's a big clue to some of the personality that we think he may have had. He was charming, and he was possessive, and he was jealous. Some people are saying, well, this is gossip news. I'm going to tell you, Joyce, the reason why I don't think this is gossip news is because this is an eyewitness account of the behavior of Brian Laundrie in a work setting. It's an eyewitness account. Gossip is when there is no eyewitness account, okay? And it's when you make up things that you have no clue about. This is an eyewitness account. In the literary world, it's a first-person source. So it works out for us to be able to use it. It's a first-person source of somebody's way that they've observed his behavior. Thank you, Penny, for joining the Feller fam. So it's the first time really too. And I've been like trying to figure this out. Like I've been trying to find somebody that was a first person source that wasn't related, such as Cassie, that wasn't related to Brian Laundrie that we could learn about. So I find it very interesting. Very interesting. Sniper says this. I wonder this too. I wonder if anybody talked to the public's employees. I wonder that too. I'm wondering, has anyone had any conversations with the Publix employees? I want to know that. Like, because we know that he's working at the Publix. This seemed to be a nursery or like a place where people would go and get stuff for their yard. And Laundrie was there doing odd jobs for them. And so I wonder if they were working at the Publix. I want to know that same question. Who, if somebody's watching that was a part of working at the Publix in Northport, Florida, let me know. Laura says, I'm wondering if it could be borderline personality disorder, and that doesn't rule out narcissistic. I'm not a psychiatrist. I know a psychiatrist. Maybe I can ask him, but there's bipolar, borderline, narcissist, sociopath, psycho. There's like 10 schizophrenic. There's 10 or 11 things that it could be. All of these things help us kind of get an understanding of what might be some of those inklings from Brian Laundrie. Cassandra Miller says not borderline. So Cassandra, thank you for the input. Again, I don't know. There's a lot of different things that possibly could be. Jamie, welcome to the Feller fam. Also, and you say welcome to the Feller fam, Penny Miller. Thank you, Penny Miller, for being a part of the Feller fam. Feller fam. Tracy says sociopath. When you look at sociopaths tend to be more hot-headed. What we know about Brian was that he definitely had the tendency to lean towards violent temper rages, such as what happened at the Mary Piglet, such as what happened outside of the Moonflower. And so sociopaths a lot of times tend to be, definitely tend to be like a little more bent on the whole temper thing. So just something to think about. I'm not saying that this is the for sure end all of any of this, but it's worth us thinking about. We don't have a ton of information. So when we do get a little bit of information from somebody that knew him, it would be great for us to have that conversation and talk about it. We're not saying it's for sure. Okay, people, we're not saying it's for sure, but it's worth us having a conversation about. Renee in North Carolina says this. He and she worked in the pharmacy. Publix employees are told not to discuss them. Well, if I understand that too. If I was an employer, I would, without a doubt, I would tell my employees, I don't want you talking about this situation. It'd be better for us to be off the grid, low key about this situation. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Renee. It means so much whenever you guys support in that way. There was also another really interesting sort of article that came out, unrelated, but interesting in the sense that it is related to the case in general. And some of you I know saw this, and some people were sending it to me today, but I thought it was an interesting thing for us to talk about. And this involves the coroner. The coroner who handled Gabby Petito's autopsy had domestic violence arrest himself for firing a gun at the wife's car. A Wyoming coroner who performed Gabby Petito's autopsy and announced her cause of death on Tuesday reportedly had a prior domestic violence arrest. According to a 2014 article by the Jackson Hole, Teton County coroner Brent Blue was initially denied a concealed carry permit renewal due to a prior domestic violence arrest involving his then wife. The news outlet reported that in 1999, Blue was arrested for shooting a gun at his then wife's car to stop her from driving away. According to the News and Guide, Blue was charged with a felony, aggravated assault, before Teton County prosecutor Stevie Weichman reduced the charge to a misdemeanor, reckless endangerment. The Division of Criminal Services, or DCI, denied Blue's request to renew his concealed carry permit, which he filed in November of 2014. The agency followed the recommendation of the Teton County Sheriff Jim Whalen, according to the News and Guide. Not only did Blue request a judicial review of DCI's ruling, but Weichman and former Sheriff Bob Zimmer wrote letters endorsing Blue's concealed carry permit, saying his actions in 1999 currently do not represent a threat to public safety. What do you guys think about that? I found that really interesting. Jennifer, thank you for the super sticker. I like that super sticker of the little cat. Thank you for sending that in. It means a whole lot. What do you guys think about that of the coroner? The coroner who handled Gabby Petito's autopsy had himself a domestic violence arrest. Jersey Devil says the coroner is a nutter too. And somebody's saying, well, Jennifer's saying all the skeletons are coming out of the closet this year for Halloween, apparently. So whenever he left the job at the hospital, like I'm sure it feels like an invasion of privacy for this guy, Dr. Brent Blue. When he left the job at the hospital, I bet he was thinking like, man, it feels really bad to have all this publicity on it. I don't even know how we're handling all of this media and stuff. I bet he never thought somebody would be digging deep, deep, deep into his past and running stories like this on the news. And we don't know the full story. So in one way, I feel bad because we're only hearing one side of the story about this whole situation. But if you're firing a gun off at your wife's car because you don't want her to run away, then I don't like that. Ain't nobody gonna like that. Rock Girl says, well, he's still a coroner. You're right. He's still a coroner. Jill says, it knocked me for a loop. Very interesting. Maureen's making a good point. There's other experts, anthropologists, entomologists, toxicologists, several other people are, involved in this case. Avery, thank you for the super chat. She says this, it kind of makes me think that he wouldn't be biased towards DV since he's been in it himself. I thought about that. What's his relationship to perceiving or understanding DV? And then think about the statement that he made whenever either accidental slip up or whatever, whenever they were asking him, was this a domestic violence situation or whatever? And then he was saying, man, there's so many DV cases all across the state that nobody's talking about, or what, just like the other many DV cases, whatever he said, it was like very interesting. Susan says, God may forgive you, but the internet never will. That's so true. Like the Lord's quick to forgive those who are pure in their heart, and the internet isn't. The internet finds fault in people who didn't even sin, if you want to know the truth. So something to think about. Jennifer Rochelle, thank you. You say, please hit the like button. I forgot to say that. And I know I said it in the beginning. I haven't said it in a little bit, but it really does help when you guys hit the like button. Like it really makes a big difference. I know I say it sometimes a lot in the beginning, but it makes the reason I say it is because I'm kind of a small channel and it's hard to get out there in the noise of everything that's going on. And then people try to, hop on here or whatever. And I don't know, they try to take my time slot and I don't even have a time slot. My schedule's so crazy. So I come on when I can. But when you guys hit the like button, it really helps us. And by the way, it takes all of us, all eyes on this case, working together, the Feller fam and everyone else that's here included, working together so we can find justice for Gabby Petito. We got to find Brian. Curious George. I like that name, Curious George. I remember the movie that came out, Curious George, the book, Curious George. Thank you for becoming a member of the Feller fam. Carson, thank you for the super chat. Tyler, what do you think of the dirty laundry trip to AT&T Bank and Walmart today? Buying more burner phones? I found it really interesting. In fact, one of the things that I thought was really interesting about it, neither here nor there, but I noticed, even though that there's a sort of a big apprehension uh, from Brian Laundrie about plastic, I noticed that when they were getting close to Christopher Laundrie as he was sort of emptying out his shopping cart or whatever, they had like several packages of bottled water. And I thought, if Brian Laundrie was here, if Gabby Petito was here, they don't like the plastic water bottles. So I found that to be interesting. But they were using those reusable shopping bags. And then one way, honestly, Carson, I kind of felt bad that they can't even make a simple trip to the store without, being hounded by people asking them questions. Sammy says, and that's a good point, Sammy. Hey, is he taking advantage of wearing a mask to make getting around easier? I absolutely think so. Like, I, without a doubt, think he's using a mask, so it's covering up his face a bit. I mean, I would too if I was in a situation. Martha says, coroner is elected office as long as he's doing his job. ... Maybe he's been to counseling. You're right, Martha. Good point. I think he, to the best of his ability, he's doing his job in the coroner's office. So, for sure. Dominique, thank you for the super sticker, ZAR. Where's that at, ZAR? What currency is that? I'm not familiar with that. Sounds really cool, though. I love traveling the world. So every time I see like a little thing like that, I want to know where it's from. Jane, thank you. Desperate people do desperate things. Brian is dangerous. Yeah, I asked that question in the poll. Do people think Brian's dangerous or not? And certainly, a lot of people think that Brian is dangerous, for sure. Thank you, Jane, for the super chat. I'm going to check the poll and just see where we're at. Like 87% of people are saying that Brian is dangerous at 1,000 votes right now. If we get that up to 2,000, no, we're at 1,200 votes now. 86% of people think Brian is dangerous. What would you do if you saw Brian? That's a good question. What would you do if you saw Brian sort of walking down the road? Kelly said, yeah, he's dangerous. Yeah, he's dangerous. We got to be careful, guys. Got to be careful. If I saw Brian, I'm just telling you guys right now, I'm going to do my best to make sure I get proper authorities there, but I'm also going to do whatever I can to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. So I'm not afraid of physical altercation with him. And if that's what it would take, I'm not going to try to get in a fight with him, but I'm going to try to, if I saw him, what are the chances? I would try to make sure that I'd call 911 or whatever, and then I would wait for him to get there. Julie, thank you so much for the super chat. It means a whole lot. A lot of you guys would call 911. I would encourage you, call 911 for sure. ZAR is a South African rand. I didn't know that. That's great. Sammy says I would cash in. Yeah, probably right, because there's it's like over 200,000. Isn't it like over $200,000 right now? How much they have for him, like the bounty or whatever, if you find him. I think a lot of people are trying to take pictures of him. What was it that Frank said last night? Like, if you see something questionable, call the authorities. Don't delay. Call the authorities. Now, there's another news report that came out today I wanted to share with you guys, talking about Gabby's resting place. I don't know if you saw this. I don't think very many people saw this today, but they're just talking about where Gabby's resting place was at. So
we do know
let me show that for
the
you.
Search for Brian Laundrie, her 23-year-old fiance, and the only person of interest in this case and investigation, has now been missing for more than a month. We did have some efforts at the 25,000-acre nature preserve out in Venice, Florida, taking place over the weekend. But as of right now, those search efforts have turned up nothing. So while they were searching for Brian Laundrie, again, here is a tweet from Gabby Petito's father. Her family, including her father, her mother, and then her step-parents, they are all there. Actually, it was very heartfelt to see in a memorial service for Gabby that Joseph Petito said throughout her entire life, Gabby has had 4 parents. Well, they all picked up her remains from a mortuary in Wyoming over the weekend. They were seen holding an urn and containing ashes of the 22-year-old. Her father tweeting this photo of Grand Teton National Park. You can see it says, "I know now why you came here. Gabby Petito has a beautiful view from now on." The tweet suggesting that her ashes were scattered there. So, as these search efforts continue for Brian Laundrie, we will be sure to keep you updated on every twist and turn. But the search efforts have definitely died down a little bit. At first, they had all the manpower you could imagine at this reserve. They had people on foot, people in swamp buggies, they had canines, they had drones. And over the course of the next several weeks following that first major search effort, they just started searching by air more, just using drones. And then last Friday, we did see them bring a cadaver dog out there who is trained for searching for human remains. Actually, you can see it right here in the video. That is Canine Diesel with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office being handled by his trainer. Again, they continued these search efforts over the weekend. Nothing turned up. It has been more than a month since Brian Laundrie's parents claimed that they last saw or heard from him. He is the only person of interest in this investigation, but that is it. The only charge that he has against him right now is for credit card fraud. It is believed that he used a credit card that could have been Gabby Petito's during the time that she was missing, and he was making his way back to Florida from the West Coast without.
So had you guys seen that where it was talking about her final resting place? I didn't feel like anybody was talking about it, and it wasn't that super descriptive, but I found it interesting. Avery says she'd call 911, start recording, and hold him by gunpoint, possibly monkey tackle it too, then give the reward money to Gabby's siblings. Thank you, Avery, for the super chat. And you're making some good points there. And how honorable of you to give that money to the siblings, you know. Jenna said, had a vivid dream last night. Laundrie drug ring. Thank you, Jenna, for the super chat. And, one of the ways that God speaks to us all throughout the Bible, you can see this, is through dreams. So when you have dreams, especially vivid dreams, you should try to remember them. Ashley says, shoot his knees out, call the cops, drink water out of bottles until the cops got him. Oh, my gosh. Collect the money and give it to Gabby's family. Thank you, Ashley, for the super chat. That one had me laughing. They torture him with drinking out of plastic bottles. Day Jedson 4881, 4,881. God willing, this will become more than the flavor of the month. Treating human beings like Gabby was treated is just wrong. Come on, let's do better. Come on, let's do better. I think that's one of the things that this channel has highlighted. And we go in on a little bit deeper than what I think some other channel, not every channel, but what a lot of other channels do. And what we do is we take a few minutes and we talk about the issue of being in toxic relationships, narcissistic abuse, other types of abuse in relationships. And I hope we've been living in a society that just feels like, just torture when it comes to this. And we keep everything silent and hidden. And then people start doing the Me Too thing, and then people start making up lies, and that created all kinds of issues about who to believe who. But I hope the person that's on the other side of the relationship is getting more courage, and there's more resources out there. Like Dr. Phil's wife came out with an app called the Aspire News Out app that helps people in DV situations get out safely. Like, I hope that those kinds of things end up happening. So just as I think about this, I hope our channel is doing a job of trying to make a difference in highlighting some of these issues that have came out. And so Trisha says, God bless you, Tyler. You're an amazing person. Thank you, Trisha, for the support. It just means a whole lot. I really do hope that collectively we're doing something here on this channel that's going to make a difference in the long haul for cases like Gabby's case and other cases. So, and people in toxic relationships will have the courage to lead them. So, Susan says this toxicity is more prevalent than DV, but okay. I don't know. That's kind of like feels a little bit like, I don't know. I don't like necessarily possibly the tone of what you're saying, but I don't understand your heart behind it. But I didn't say one way or the other was wrong or right. I'm saying they're both wrong. And toxicity, the only thing that can do is escalate and become more intense. So a toxic thing is going to become worse. Like you get a little bit of toxicity in you, it's just going to become a bigger issue. And I don't think DV relationships start out as DV relationships. They start out as toxic relationships. So one flows into the other. And so, of course, maybe there's more toxicity prevalent than DV. That makes sense, right? But we need people, when they get the red flags, to begin to walk away. That's what I think. We need people to walk away. Sammy says, I bet he's in this chat room every night. One way I hope he is. I'd be fair to him. I'd treat him with respect as a child of, God. Doesn't mean I'm okay with what he did, but I'd love to have a conversation with him. And, maybe we could find his location out. We'd call FBI and try to get him to ping his location or something. Very interesting. Amy, thank you so much for joining the Feller fam. You joined Curious George, Penny, Maggie today, who all became a part of the Feller fam. Tina, did you notice that the reserve is open? Ever since they found that other guy, it went quiet. Like they knew someone is in there and found it wasn't him. That's a good point, Tina. Maybe it's like we know somebody is in the reserve. We don't know who. And then a little bit later down the road, they realize like, oh, found the guy. Turned out it wasn't Brian Laundrie. It was this other guy. Makes sense. I did notice the reserve was open. It's just, and sort of the entrance to get into the reserve. That if you see on the screen, that's them sort of going into the reserve. That's the Northport Police video from them going through different parts of the reserve. And look how treacherous that terrain is as you see them trying to go up above it. I mean, it's pretty treacherous terrain for sure. Very interesting. The dogs followed the wrong scent, maybe. Could be, maybe the dogs followed a human scent and it wasn't. Maybe they had a dog who was following general human scent and they had a dog who was following specifically Brian's scent. Who knows? I don't know either. Maybe one or the other. Who knows? I mean, who really knows? None of us know. None of us know. Trisha says this, Tyler, what do you think about the mother and daughter that post a long message about Gabby that the Laundrie family didn't like her? So we went over this pretty extensively yesterday. I found it really interesting. I found that whole situation to be pretty intriguing. That, again, it's a first-person source. There's a bias attached to it because it was Roberta's best friend. So Roberta's best work friend, that she wanted that girl to date Brian, and then is coming out on behalf of Roberta. There's bias attached to it, so you have to discount it majorly. But I found it very interesting. Hey, if some of you guys want to hop on the call with me, I just posted the link in the comment section. Feel free to click on it. Make sure whenever you come on, be respectful, no cursing, have YouTube muted in the background. There better not be like an echo or even a delay, because that makes it really hard when we're on YouTube live to have conversations. So I don't sometimes mean to like click people off, but whenever I do that because it's really impossible to actually have a conversation. So he's definitely not trying to turn himself in at this point. Without a doubt, he's not trying to turn himself in for sure. What's up, man?
Hello, Tyler. Thanks for having me. The question was asked, is Brian dangerous? If I consider him dangerous. Well, as we had discussed before with Gavis, he had told us that the Laundrie family has a number of firearms. And I think it stands to reason that they may have given him a gun if he didn't already have one of his own.
So he's dangerous not just because he's potentially a murderer, but he's dangerous because he also has a firearm and is a potential murderer?
That's correct. And if he would strangle the most important person in his life, strangle her to death, I mean, I don't put it past him to kill anyone else, because pretty much everyone else means less to him. unless you consider his parents. Maybe he spared them, but none of us are safe, I would say. And people just need to be careful. I mean, I take precautions in my own life. I won't go into detail, but let's just say I'm less afraid than a lot of other people of being attacked by a runaway fugitive. And, it gives me peace of mind to do what I do, just to keep myself safe. And so I won't, hopefully, will never be a victim. But yeah, I mean, everybody's got to, be on the lookout, because I don't put anything past this guy. If somebody who could do what he did in such a gruesome manner, I don't put it past him. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Frank, for calling in.
Pleasure. Have a good one.
Can you guys hear me okay? It sounded like everybody was saying things in the comments like you couldn't hear me. Very interesting. I don't know. I'm using a new mic. I can switch back to my old mic if I need to. Sarah, how are you? Are you there, Sarah? All right. Can you guys hear me? I don't know how it's a brand new microphone system I'm trying to work out, and then Sarah called and it didn't work. Sarah, are you there? Okay. So I don't know if Sarah's not working or I'm not working. Sorry about all the confusion. Just trying to get it worked out. Maybe I need to switch back to my other microphone. Denise says this, Tyler, what do you think about the friend of the mother of Brian saying she wasn't fond of Gabby and said nasty things? She also wanted Brian to marry Brittany. I'm not surprised. Many people have speculated that Roberta is sort of a controlling type mother that's lent way to a narcissistic son, and she's trying to control his love life, possibly. Very interesting. Eleni says, I hear you fine. You were just low compared to Frank. Okay. Alyssa says, helicopter mom. Yeah, she's kind of a helicopter mom. Maureen says, those are the worst types of moms. Okay. Jennifer Rochelle says, can you slow the chat? I've already slowed the chat, so I don't think I can slow it again. Jennifer Rochelle says, Lone Wolf, how are you?
Okay. Who initiated the credit card information?
You need to mute whatever's on in the background if you don't mind. The credit card information was initiated by the FBI.
And how long was that after he was home?
It didn't happen until like around September 28th.
September 28th. Okay, I was kind of confused on those dates.
Yep. So he came home September 1st, and so it had been a while.
Okay. When was the van seized by the FBI?
It was pretty late. It was around that same time.
Okay, I like your show. I've been having trouble trying to be a telephone. Remember, I'm not exactly sure how to do that.
Okay. Well, there's a link in the description of the video, and that's how you can join. And our mods are putting it in the chat pretty frequently. So if you see a little blue wrench with a link, you can do it that way.
Okay, thank you. I enjoy your show. Thank
you for calling in. Sarita, thank you for the super chat. You say Brittany Coleman seems so sus. Hilarious that she would claim that Gabby was broke when Brian used her card and her van. I thought the same thing. Like, whose card was Brian using? Whose van was Brian using? They both belong to Gabby Petito. So you're making a good point. Thank you, Sarita. The chat is going pretty fast. Hey, if you guys haven't done so, if you don't mind, hit the like button. hit the like button. Tyler, this makes me so sad. I follow you on this case as I do Summer Wells. I'm tired. I know God reveals all things, and I know He will. Absolutely. I'm praying that God gives us supernatural wisdom to locate Brian. I pray for it almost every single night on the show. The Bible teaches He gives us remarkable secrets of things not yet known. And so I believe that, like in the same way that you believe it, that God can reveal that information to me, to you, to someone on the chat, somebody that calls in, that God would speak supernaturally to one of our hearts, maybe even Dog the Bounty Hunter, about where Brian is. And for Summer Wells, too. And for Summer Wells. Deborah says that she was married to a guy whose mother was a single older divorcee. She literally acted as if she was his wife and was very jealous of me. Sorry to hear that, Deborah, but I totally understand that. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. Jana, you're live on the air. How are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. So I just wanted to share. First of all, hi from Germany.
Hey,
Pretty
Germany, I think you're
international.
our first German caller. What's up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty late here, actually. I'm kind of sleepless. And I thought I would just call in and share some of my thoughts. So you were asking whether Brian could be dangerous or not. And from what I've learned, or like you shared the article about his friend. So it appears to me like he could be a psychopath. He like I have some experience with psychopaths. I was in a relationship with one, and so they can be very impulsive. That's what I think could bring people in trouble when encountering Brian. Because it's also, from what I've experienced, it's pretty irrational. So like they can get very, very angry for actually nothing. So yeah, that's kind of my
Well, Jana, thank you for calling in and
point of
thank
view.
you for your insight on this. Appreciate you watching all the way from Germany. Tell all your friends there I said hello.
Okay, I do. Have a good night or good day.
Yep. So, Ryan, I just want to say I see your comments in the chat a lot, and you're so encouraging. I don't know who you are, but I see them and I don't get a chance to acknowledge them a lot. But I read almost every comment. And then a lot of times when the videos are over, I'll go through and literally read almost every single comment. And sometimes there's 12 to 20,000 of these comments. And I will do my best to read every single one of them. And so I see your comments and they encourage me and I really appreciate them. And then I see other people's comments and I have a hard time sometimes like thinking we don't actually know people when they call in and we hear them for 3 minutes, and we sometimes are so judgmental of people, and that's just the wrong way to be. So we can't be judgmental, guys. Don't make judgments based off of people and say really hateful, mean things when you've only heard somebody for literally 3 minutes of their life. Be better than that. If you're upset with the caller, our callers are not on here very long. We move on to the next one. Be careful. Please be careful. Channeling the heart, Barbara Joyce. Thank you, Barbara Joyce, for joining the Feller fam today. I'm so excited to have you as a part of the Feller fam. It means a whole lot. I'm going to add Bumblebee to the call. Hey, Bumblebee, how are you?
How's it going, Tyler?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling in.
I sent you an email. I don't know if you caught it, where I listed out some stats, and I felt it was useful today.
I got like probably 400 emails today, so I'll search for it. What was the subject of it?
If you type in Bumblebee, you should catch me there. And I felt it was relevant to this chameleon comment because In our last chat, I was talking about how these abusers, they can appear to be the victim very quickly, right?
Yes.
And they just have this like supernatural bad power to they de-escalate. So what they do is when they're in a fight, or they're being the abuser, when the cops come in, you'll see the stories. You can go check them on Reddit, Google, see stories of DV situations. They de-escalate their anger very quickly, and then they look like the victim.
Mm.
So, you know, they did the hit and they rile the person up. They make them very upset. And then they know they're going to be called out on it, or the cops are going to come, and they can calm down very fast.
Let me read some of these stats. I got your email.
Yep. Oh, cool.
So you're saying, number one, it's very difficult to find evidence because abusers are good at hiding it, whether death resulted or not. Half of strangulation victims had marks on their necks, and only 15% of those marks were clear enough to photograph. Second thought, the person can die days to weeks after being strangled. Death can occur days or weeks after the attack due to carotid artery dissection, respiratory complications such as pneumonia, acute respiratory distress, and the risk of blood clots. That's interesting. Number three, strangers don't often kill women. It's usually the partner. Strangers perpetrated just 16% of all female homicides. 72% of all murder-suicides involve an intimate partner. This is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Number four, if choked even once, the murder is 750% more likely. She said victims who have been choked once are 750% more likely to be killed by their abuser, and that choking is considered a predictor of homicide. The Institute of Strangulation goes on to say that it's 750% by a gun. What do you think, like, when she was saying he grabbed her face? Like,
yes. Yeah, I think that that's just her being emotional and not being very specific, maybe trying to not blame him for choking, right? Like, I do think that he probably went for the choke, and he kind of realized he's outside, and that's where he starts. He starts with the jaw and then goes from there. And he might have recognized that, you know, he was going too far. I would say that's a good indicator that he has done it before and that there's a problem there. I would also say that I think in my point 5 or 6, I noted that if somebody ever checks into the hospital and they were strangulated, is that in the email? They were definitely a person who's been abused before.
Of 494 women sampled in Chicago hospitals for any reason said they had experienced IPV in the past year, 47% had experienced at least one incident in the past year in which her partner had tried to choke or strangle her, and 57% had ever experienced choking or strangulation by the abusive partner. And then 89% of women had an attempted strangulation were abused prior. That's interesting. So basically,
right?
You're saying, like, yo, this has been going on.
Yeah.
And the chance that a stranger did it is minimal.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why when you're talking on the show, and you do a great job about that, is like, you're not 100%, but you're fairly confident that he's involved. So we're pretty sure. So when people are questioning this and they're trying to rebuttal this, they have to be aware that they're in the minority of the percentage, right?
Yes.
And then there's another factor I was looking into is like, these people are also usually people who were abused by their parents. So this guy, if he's watching, Laundrie is like, he should come to terms with his parents. His parents probably abused him.
Yes.
And so all these behaviors we see about the parents, we should be aware that they might have caused this to him to be that way. And so that's why they don't see it as abnormal. Like, they might have seen these situations and not cared because they were abusers probably.
Wow. Very interesting. Thank you for sending those stats along. And
one more thing.
The case that Brian Laundrie more than likely is guilty of homicide.
There's one more thing, Tyler, and this is good news. I think, given everything we've seen, that, you know, he plays the victim. They're saying he's a chameleon. We think he's an abuser. These people always need people. So my experience with them is they need somebody. So that's leading us more towards the fact that he's hiding out with somebody. He needs somebody. He needs Gabby's money. He needs Gabby's support. He needs somebody else right now.
Wow. That's true. So he's depending on maybe family.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you, Bumblebee, for calling in. That was a great call. Ashley, and I did read those stats, but it was an email from October 15th. Good information. Ashley says, did you know that that Gabby's van was being towed today? I did see that. I'm hoping that we'll be able to find out where it went, and I'm hoping it's being towed to Long Island. Would that be good? I don't know if it is. Hillary says, Brian, please follow Laura Richards UK and coercive control expert. Femicide is real. This is textbook stuff. Thank you, Hillary, for the super chat. Pointing people in a direction. Thank you so much for doing that. Hey, I believe that Brian is with a relative on his mom's side of the family or the dad's side of the family. Yes. Could it be the dad witnessed his dad beating his mom? There's a lot of things are possible. That one doesn't seem that super likely to me, but it's possible. And the neighbors, the protesters that were interviewing Cassie Laundrie said that they had heard screaming coming from the house. So maybe there's a bit of an indication about that. I don't know. So, hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for purchasing the Don't Stop book. The Don't Stop book comes out on November 16th. It's a book that I wrote, and I think a lot of you guys are going to really enjoy it. If you're interested in, learning out like how to work through different things in your life, or figure out what God's purpose is for your life, or get really clear about your design and destiny, or how to hear God speak, all those things are covered in there. In fact, I had a psychiatrist read it, and he, as an advanced reader copy, and he called me whenever he was reading it, and he said, he was like the chapter 12, and he called me and he said, wow, this is a blueprint for trauma recovery. And he's a board certified psychiatrist. And so I thought that was a really good quote to have, and I felt really honored that he would say that. So some of you who've gone through some stuff, it's going to be really helpful, possibly for you if you're interested. I'm putting the join link in the comment section in case some of you guys want to join the call today. I'm trying to pin it, but it's hard to pin things the way that I'm on here. So I have to go back onto YouTube to pin. And then like, if I haven't clicked over on YouTube, all the past chats from like the previous like 30 minutes start rolling through. So it takes a while for them to go through. So, and that's what happens when I want to do a new poll question too. So 30 minutes start rolling through. So it takes. Denise, how are you?
Hi. So I just going back to the chameleon thing. I had an ex who was wanted by law enforcement, and he actually hid in plain sight and evaded law enforcement for months just by being in plain sight.
That was my question before. Is Brian hiding in plain sight? And it was only like 63% of people thought that he was.
Well, going back to the chameleon thing, I'm pretty sure it's possible. I've had, like I said, I've had an ex who wanted, who hid in plain sight for months. It was like 9 months or something like that he hid in plain sight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the thought, Denise. Thank you for calling in today.
Yep.
Peter. Well, thank you for the thought, Denise. Thank you for calling in today. Falula, how are you? Peter. Well, thank you for the thought, Denise. If you guys call in, you got to have YouTube muted in the background and talk through StreamYard, or else there's going to be a lag. And so retired NYPD and Falula, you guys both have a big echo. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. The first couple times I tried to switch on, it wasn't working.
Yes, I think because my Google didn't have the microphone over. So I have a few questions, and I do work in the mental health field for a living. That is what I do. Great. So I know that a couple people were kind of wondering do
you work as a therapist, or what's
your
role?
Yeah, I work. Well, they're high school emotional support. So like they're like high school kids, but they're emotional support, and I deal with it's a special school who only takes kids that are emotionally disturbed.
Do you have a graduate degree or a bachelor's degree?
Master's.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. So what I was kind of like, I kind of was like going back. Did anybody ever find out if that nomadic, what was it? Yeah, nomadic static, was that really their page?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question about that. So I was kind of like looking at his behaviors and everything like that. And you kind of really can't judge that too much. Like a behavior specialist, like you cannot go through that and just um analyze somebody that fast. So it
Right.
takes a long time to do that. So if he was having like, I saw that, you guys were saying that he had like a sorry, I have COVID brain, so I lose my thought for like a minute and then it comes back. So I
Yeah,
just
I
got over
relate.
it.
I also have that brain.
Yeah, it stinks.
Yeah.
But so like judging by what you guys were saying, like you found on he's a very dark person, and that it almost seemed like he was a schizophrenic type person, but like he also would like fly off the handle. Like some people were saying that there is a disorder that is called the schizoaffective disorder.
Right.
And that's almost kind of seems like what it is looking into. Like I don't know, but just by going off of the little bits that I did see of him, um and he
Plus,
definitely does have like if everything that we're hearing is true, he does have like the sociopathic tendencies. And if he was going between, like the schizophrenia with the delusions and the hallucinations and
yes.
plus using the drugs, does
Yes.
anybody know if he was on a medication, not drugs, but medication?
So it sounded like, and it's all kind of like putting sentences together. It kind of sound like there was a time when he was on medicine, but he currently was choosing not to be on medicine.
So it was like a self-medication thing with the marijuana, or I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what not to say. I don't want to get you into trouble. But like he wasn't like, because they like if it's the self-medication that he was doing, that can actually expedite like a psychosis or whatever they were doing. And the other thing is like they were saying in there that that they don't drink. Gabby had said, no, we don't drink. But there
Yep.
was a video, or like I think it was a TikTok on 8/19/21 that she had posted, and it shows them they're drinking.
Oh,
So I thought
really?
that was really interesting to see that, because she, made it pretty clear that that wasn't something that they were doing. But it was, I believe, her TikTok. It was on 8/19/21 that she posted, and it's him popping a bottle of champagne.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of interesting too. But I also wanted to know too, and this has nothing to really do with the mental health aspect, but did we know that the nomadic static, was that his channel or their channel?
Their channel. Well, it was more her channel, but yeah, their channel together.
So this is what I was thinking, was it a possible money source? Because I was looking at like the social blade and everything, and I don't know how any of this works, but if you get 1,000 subscribers, you can make money off of YouTube. The video that they have as of today, when I looked it up, was 6,023,432 views. So if you go through all of that, they could have made at 6,000 views, $12,000 to $35,000, and YouTube keeps 45. Well, I did a little bit more digging, and I found that within the last 30 days, the estimated earnings would have been between $1,000 and $16,700, and the mid range for that would have been $8,350. If YouTube still takes their 45% within 30 days, he made $3,757.50.
No, it doesn't work like that. So like after you get 1,000 subscribers, you
Yes.
have to also have 4,000 watch hours, and you
Yes.
have to apply to be a part of their partner program, and that takes a while to
Could
be
he do
approved
that
for that.
though?
He could do it now. You mean now? Yes.
Yeah.
If he's access to the internet, he could do that now for sure. I
Could he get
doubt a lot of that's manual review because it takes a while, and then they mail you something to your mailbox, and you have to put that in. So, like for me, that's the reason we didn't have super chats and things like that at the beginning of my channel, was because they mailed my PIN numbers, what they call it, to the wrong address, and they
Okay.
don't allow you to put it in. So I couldn't have Feller Fam, and I couldn't have super chats in the beginning. So like my first like 2 million views I ever got, or really like a lot of my views I got, was unable to even get super chats. In live streams like this, you don't get any ad revenue off of, because
Okay.
it's all live. But on their video, they would have had to got something in the mail eventually to do that. So you
Could it
can
be a
do,
PO box?
yeah, it could be a PO box.
I wonder if like it could. I'm just like, it's just my thought. Like I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, this could be actually a lot of money once I realized how many views it had, but I don't know how any of that works. So it was
It
just
wouldn't
kind
be
of a
for this
thought.
video. Like I had a video that has like 400,000 or 500,000 views, and it doesn't kick in until like your next.
Yeah, it was just because it has 6 million, over 6 million as of today. That was
Right.
so okay, well, that was all I had to say. So
I like the way you're thinking. You're thinking like, how is he getting funding? Here's one possible way.
yeah,
So
I don't know, it was interesting. Oh, and then on that video on the 25th of September and the 10th, October 1st, there were 0 views on both of those days, and I don't know if any of those dates were any kind of a significance if you kind of dig a little deeper, but on those were the 2 dates, the only 2 dates that there were 0 views.
that's interesting. What days were those?
9/25 of
Okay.
this year. We obviously this year, and then so that was September 25th and then October 1st.
Huh.
Because that's
That
like
does-
right around the days of importance, isn't it?
Yeah, it could have just been a glitch on whatever analytics. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was Social Blade. That's what I was looking it up on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to thank you, and thank you so much. I hope you feel better. I know what you're going through. I'm kind of
Yeah.
going through it myself. So
It's been pretty
God
rough.
bless, and thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Sarah. I like the way she's thinking. She's thinking really critically about these issues, trying to figure out what are some of the income sources that could possibly be coming in for Brian Laundrie. And so I really appreciate that. Aaron, what's up, man? What's life like in Miami?
You know, things are getting a little bit cooler day by day. Less
Good.
rain every day as well. So the rainy season is slowly ending.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, things are good.
I'm in a weird mode, like in Illinois where I'm at, where it's like really cold in the mornings and then like hot in the afternoon. And then you're like, should I turn my air on or should I turn my heater on?
Yes, we were in that position last year. We just moved from Kansas City. So Midwest, it's always like in fall, you always have those false like days where it's like, ooh, it's gonna be nice, but then like in the evening it's all of a sudden hot again.
Right.
It's super weird. But yeah, I liked the way that she was thinking as well in that last one there. Obviously their channel has gained, I was on that Social Blade too as she was talking about it. The majority of the subscribers have been gained obviously in the last 30 days. Same for the views, just because of the public attention towards it. I think with Brian's like disinterest overall in the social media stuff though, he wouldn't even probably have,
Well, also Gabby's
access
dad
to all
came
that.
out and said, hey, one thing that would really bless our family if you'd go subscribe to this channel. And so I went and
There you
subscribed to the channel because Gabby's dad asked us to.
Right. Yeah. That was a big like dream of hers, right? To have that that social media, the blog, and obviously she was getting started with the video stuff. Apologize for the plane flying over. I feel like every time I call in, it's on Tuesdays when my wife is also in a video call for school stuff. So I'm always on the porch. But yeah, it's interesting. But like you just said, he would have also had to apply for all of the partnership stuff and everything. But it's interesting. I doubt he even has the logins and stuff for that, since that was kind of her dream. But my thoughts, and I jumped in a little bit late, but I heard someone talking about hiding in plain sight. And I feel like I just keep going back to the house, thinking like, what if, during the entire process of the FBI actually going there and obtaining some of the items and right before they went to the Carlton Reserve for like the big search, what if he was gone during that period of time and then they just brought him right back and they're just hold on one sec. She's like coming out here to chill now. She's done. Hold on, I'm going to call.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to a guy named Tyler.
And like 5,000 other people.
Oh yeah, and like a few thousand people. What if they're just back at the house, right? Like, I don't know if that's the case, but would there be a case you think where they could get access to the house again? I know that they only have him for the bank situation, but this has become such a huge case. I feel like I'd want to be back in that house once more at least, just to double check some of those theories.
They took so many boxes out of that house.
Yeah, that's true. They took so much. Yeah.
It's almost like they took everything that could have possibly belonged to Gabby potentially. And I wonder too if part of that was at request of the Petito Schmidt family, because they are talking about like, hey, we wanted her belongings and they haven't given them to us. I wonder if FBI has them all. They're waiting for everything to break loose and then they'll release them. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, this is one of those things also. It's like we probably will find so much about this when it's all said and done, and we'll be thinking like, oh, why were we thinking this? Of course they had it taken care of, but I just keep thinking like, oh, I want them back in that house. I want them in the backyard. I just want to like put to rest some of these theories, even though some things could possibly be a thing, like bunkers and all these things. But, I kind of want that to be put to rest so we can just kind of focus on other things. But one last thing is, like, I feel like since we're so removed from it's been over a month since Brian's been gone. And obviously Gabby, going back to the police body cam footage, I feel like is super beneficial just to see them and really see like how they were. And so I revisited I think it was the second body cam footage, and it really just it bothered me again how dismissive they were of the mark on her. I know that they ended up talking about how, they were linking up the witness story and what they were each saying. And I know she seemed to be taking kind of the fall on the whole thing, which is obviously what victims will do. At least that's what we've been hearing. But it's like she also had marks on her. So it's just the whole thing is nasty. And like clearly they saw her being grabbed, and like something should have been done that day. I know that they were trying to get them off the hook, trying not to arrest someone, but I don't know. I just feel like with having marks on her, those cops, those men there, and I wish we could hear what the female cop was talking to her about, trying to help bring her, de-escalate the situation. But it just rubs me the wrong way that like she also had marks on her, and like that is such a problem,
It's a big problem.
Yeah. It's like, I can't help but think what would have happened if one of them would have gotten taken in, or the situation would have been taken a little bit more seriously, if she potentially could have been, saved from the situation. Her parents find out about it. They pull her from the, just come home, whatever it may be. It's just, it really kind of bothered me to watch that again. And so, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts, is just, it's getting to the point where, I wish we could find something out, but these things just take time, right? This is a huge case, and we're just along for the ride. But just for her family, because I can't imagine.
Absolutely. You're on the right path, Aaron. Everybody appreciates you in the comment section.
Oh,
too,
really?
So
Thank
you for calling in.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me again, and keep it up. We'll talk soon.
Yep, thanks. Susan, thank you for becoming a Feller Fam member. You too, Cool Witch 46. You joined Barbara, Amy, Curious George, Penny, and Maggie, who all became a part of the Feller Fam today. Ashley, you sent a super chat. You said that Cassie owns an apartment. Avery said that yesterday she had ran a background, like information, public data search on Cassie, and it showed that she had ownership of an apartment complex. So possible, right? And then Kay, thank you for the super chat. You were saying Static is the name of a video game. Has people checked into that? I had paid just very little attention to that. I did do a bit of research on it one day, and it seemed kind of like a creepy, crazy game. Again, I'm not surprised. What kind of games is he playing? Well, they're probably in line with his artwork and the books that he's reading and his favorite podcasts. They're all pretty much the same genre. And I'm not saying if that's your favorite genre that there's something bad about you, but I am saying if there's something bad about you, I'm not surprised that that's your favorite genre. I want to shout out Jody, too, who today you made the purchase of the Don't Stop book. Thank you, Jody, for doing that. Cool Witch, thank you for upgrading. You upgraded to producer. On Saturday, I'm going to be having a call with all the producer level and up that are part of the Feller Fam. Seattle Kiwi, hey, Tyler, can you do a Brian Laundrie physical/mental profile of his stats, height, weight, pictures, whatever, to refresh our minds? So Gavis put together something really cool, and I'm going to show it to you guys. It has all that information on there. So let me put it on the screen. So wanted large cash reward, Brian Christopher Laundrie. Date of birth, November 18th, 1997, age 23. Race, white, eyes, brown hair, short brown. Height, 5'8". Weight, 140 to 160 pounds. Trimmed facial hair. May have a dark beard. Tattoos on hand. And when you zoom in, there's some distinct features. This is the little thing on the ear. If you guys remember, whenever the U.S. Marshals had ambushed that guy we talked about yesterday on the Appalachian Trail, they said, well, you got the same ear thing. So there's a little thing on the ear here. There's a little freckle on the left, little chinny chin chin. right there. There's a weird little dimple thing above the right eyebrow there. There's a tattoo on the right hand there. There's a rendering as if he had a beard there. Some information about what he may look like. Hey, Brandy, thank you for joining the Feller fam. Excited to have you. Means a lot. And so just some different angles of him. There's some information about him, I think, that you were asking. I thought this was really cool. I sent this out to Diane today. We sent it to Dr. Espinosa yesterday, who called in from Mexico, and she was, has a nonprofit where they do missing person searches and stuff like that. Samina says, hey, oh man, it went. I was going to try to read what you're saying, Samina, and then it just disappeared because the chat just moved sort of like that level of quickness for me. So I don't know what you said, but Island Girl says, would Gabby's channel get a YouTube plaque? So if you get 100,000 subscribers, you can request a YouTube plaque and then they'll mail it to you. But there's a certain request process. They don't automatically send you one. So, Dawn, how are you?
Hi, good evening. Maybe you can help me. There's two concerns I have. With the coroner, the whole DV that he was convicted of DV against his then wife, would that cause a character problem if this ever goes to trial?
Good point. I didn't think about that. Probably very likely, right?
And he would be slightly biased, wouldn't he?
Be an understatement.
Shooting at your wife's car is kind of an understatement. The other thing is, maybe you can help me with a timeline. Wasn't Gabby supposed to meet Rose in Yellowstone? Yes. And Rose said that she never got confirmation.
Yes.
Of that trip.
Right.
Do we know if Rose ever reached out to her parents that she couldn't get in touch with Gabby? Before the missing person, that it took so long for nobody to hear from her?
Gabby's parents were having a hard time getting in touch with her too. They were trying to get in touch with her. And after so many days, they realized this isn't just in the mountains with no signal.
I mean, I've been late to work or not shown up for work, and I've had girlfriends call my parents, call my employers, call everybody in a contact list. So we don't know if Rose ever reached out to anybody or made her own missing persons report if she claims that.
She never said that. She never made a statement about any of that.
Right, but she's given
a lot of the information the FBI is not allowing them to talk about.
She said that Brian was so horrible to Gabby and everything else. Wouldn't that raise some alarms to you? I can't hear you.
I wasn't saying anything. I don't know the personality types. It's like some people are going to try to just let it chill out, and other people are going to be like, yeah, I got to go deep on this. I don't know. But I personally don't really think Rose is involved, but I think if she was concerned, she might have contacted Nicole. Nicole didn't say that. Nicole was concerned, but not super concerned because they were in places where there wasn't good signal anyways. It's so complex for me to try to make a theory based on.
I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just, being in a situation like that. If I missed a day of work, everybody would be called or, reached, or some kind of contact would have been made. But going back to the coroner, I'm just concerned, with the character and the DV, and, people have claimed he smirked a little bit when he was giving out the autopsy report, and so many errors made by cops. And, just as a defense attorney, there's so much just laid out for them right now.
Yep.
All right. That's all I had to
let me think a little bit differently about the coroner, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Dawn, for calling in today.
Thank you. Good night.
Leary Donna Zimberi. I hope I pronounced that right. Zimberi. Leary Donna Zimberi. I believe he's alive, and the FBI knows where he is. They have to keep some things confidential for certain people. such as juries, they may be able to select when that comes from Cali. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. You're making some good points there, and I appreciate the super chat. I also want to welcome Gypsy Princess, who joined the Feller fam. Thank you, Gypsy Princess, for joining the Feller fam. Feels really good to have you guys as a part of our channel. Really appreciate what you guys are doing. Sunshine, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I got two scenarios, and I'm sorry I'm speaking like this because I'm kind of sick right now. No COVID, but I already did the quarantine. But anyway, two scenarios. One of the ladies was speaking on hiding in plain sight. Well, yes, he can be hiding in plain sight because my ex did the same thing to me in my case. And when I stepped into my house, and this was a different house, so give you a scenario. This was a different house. I stepped into my house, and I had an attic in it. And this is saying what Brian's parents might have as well in
Hey,
theirs.
Sunshine, your microphone's like really cutting up quite a bit.
Okay. Let me. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. I'm so sorry. I'll give her some time to try to get it together. We'll put the retired NYPD back on. Are you on here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you. It was like such a delay and echo last time.
All right, so you can hear me now.
Yeah.
All right, so let me go over some of your streamers' ideas. Number one, he's not in the backyard, dude. He's not. He's not in the backyard.
Is this
okay?
Peter or a different retired NYPD?
This is Tommy, NYPD.
Okay.
All right. So number one, he's not in the backyard. All these speculations makes me laugh because I'm looking.
You don't have to convince me of that one. All right. I believe you.
I look at the YouTube guys that are showing stuff that, the mom handed him something. No, he's not in the backyard.
All right.
Because let me tell you one thing. All right. Number one, they probably used some type of infrared to check the attic and every place else to see if he was out there. So he's not in the backyard. No way. Secondly, the Cotton Reserve, they were looking for evidence. They were looking for something. Okay. I can't tell you what they were looking for because I'm not involved in the case. Okay. But they were definitely looking for something. Some type of signs that he was out there. Whether it be maybe a cell phone, anything. They're out there. They didn't waste their time out there. They did not waste their time out there. We don't know if they collected any evidence out there because they're not going to divulge that. That's number one. They are not going to divulge if they found any evidence out there whatsoever. The FBI keeps everything close to the chest. And the FBI is not going to divulge, believe it or not, they're not going to divulge to the local PD neither. Because they are afraid that's going to get leaked out. I worked homicide for 5 years, okay? And as a homicide detective, we never divulged anything to any of the department members. Even the cops that showed up to the scene, we never divulged anything. We keep that close to ourselves, okay? Because of leakage. We do not want to divulge anything that we know or
right. Hey, there's other people waiting. So what's your third thing?
My third thing is they are still working on the case. Okay. I believe they have leads. Okay. And nobody, Northport, Suffolk County PD, nobody knows what their leads are because they don't want no leaks. Period. End of story.
Well, thank you for calling in today. appreciate your viewpoints. Always appreciate the service that you did, for New York, but really you were the front line of duty. So, but thank you for calling in, and appreciate just who you are, and you're welcome to
I
continue
just
to be a
want
part of
I
our
just
channel.
want to add that all these speculations are coming out,
I
and
know.
everybody's saying everything. We don't know. Nobody knows. The only
Right.
anybody knows is the FBI,
Right.
and they're not going to divulge it. Nobody's going to divulge it.
Right. I'm
But-
right there with you. I've been saying it the whole time. So
Yeah. So, as far as the Carlton Reserve, I think they exhaust all resources out there. I think they spent a lot of money being out there,
right.
but they had to do what they had to do what they had to do.
And do what they had to
But-
do. It costs $200,000 a day. Hey, thank you, Tommy. Have a great evening.
You too. All right. Listen, you do an awesome job.
Thank you.
But the other thing to say to your viewers and all the questions they ask you, you do an awesome job, but we don't know. Nobody knows.
Right. Thank you for calling in. Museum Americana says, thank you, Tyler, for sticking to the facts and keeping it clean. We appreciate your live streams, and we'll tune in. We hope to become a member soon. Thank you, Museum Americana. It means a lot to have your support. I constantly see you in the comments encouraging people and encouraging me. It just means a lot. Maureen.
Hey, Tyler, how are ya?
I'm doing well. I
Good.
could hear myself echo, so you may have to turn it down a bit.
Oh, well, my volume, here we go. How's that?
Better.
Okay, good. Well, Tyler, has anybody ever looked into how, if there's a possibility, of course, it's a lead. Well, first of all, I got a couple of things, and I don't want to take up your time either, but this is important because I actually connected with Kim Brooks, who's another good investigator on your show, and we talked about, she said, Maureen, you're in Colorado. Why don't you look into Samantha Bertolino? So I did. And Samantha worked at Vale Village, Lion's Head at the Burton snowboard store. And if you look on some of the nomadic static on the sand dunes, Brian was a pretty good snowboarder. And this is a daughter that's slightly older, about 30 years old. And I saw this, and I didn't send this to you, but this is one of the tattoos she has, and it's very similar to like Brian having. It's like a crow's head, kind of like the lullaby. I'm like, how, everybody's an individual person, especially when it comes to tattoos. They really want to be individual, but it's so parallel to the book Lullaby and the dead bird and everything, and that's on her arm. And she had shut down her Instagram. So that was pretty odd. And it also shows her on a video, so you get a good look of her it's a show called What's Happening Vale about 6 years ago. It shows her showing off some new model snowboards. And when, again, I looked back at the nomadic static sand dunes. Brian was a good snowboarder. Of course, all of us in Colorado, what else is there doing in the winter season except snow?
And that's what I thought too. I'm like, well, he's doing pretty good because I've snowboarded before. And it was
yeah, I saw your video on that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Tyler, the next thing was about burner phones. If you go that direction, has anybody thought of like going through either a convenience store or Walmart very close to Northport where they lived and taking again, he had a minimal time if he's going to do this escape, and taking the SKU number of burner phones that Walmart would have in inventory, or a C-store close by that would have an inventory, and looking through those SKU numbers. And because I said it's in September, you don't have very many time to purchase it. You look at that number, you go through the batch inventory, and then you go through the surveillance camera because if they purchased it through cash, you go through that batch and you actually can track it with maybe Roberta standing in line, Chris standing in line, Brian standing in line, and even remotely Cassie standing in line.
I'm trying not to talk much because I'm echoing so much whenever I talk that every person's commenting about it. So
that was just, those are just some of the leads, especially Sam Bernalito, his daughter. I mean, that was just how, when Kim gave me that lead, I went, okay, I'll go digging. And that's what I found, snowboarding at Vail. Very nice area, very expensive. And of course the Walmart, and taking a batch of all the purchases of burner phones through SKU. And then the last but not least, Tyler, is, again, I still go with the Mexico lead, because I did have an email I sent to you, and I know you go through hundreds and hundreds of emails, but this one was a good one, because everybody was saying it was the Denison Yacht Club. Well, they started doing boats in San Carlos, Mexico, which again is off the coast of Sonora. And you could actually enter through Nogales, Mexico. It takes you about plus or minus 30 hours to get there on Interstate 10. Stay undercover, get right through the border like the doctor said yesterday. And that was very interesting because I have been there. And San Carlos is a sleepy little mooring village of sailboats, Club Med. You can do it. It's a possibility. It's a remote possibility, but it can be done, and it's done without an airplane.
I can't talk much because it echoes. Okay. Thanks, Maureen, for calling in.
Sure.
I was echoing on her end, and the reason you guys didn't hear echo that one time was because I muted her whenever I talked. So I couldn't talk to her much, but I was appreciating what she was saying. I think it'd be hard to find the SKU numbers on all of those phones, because theoretically he could have bought a phone anytime and anywhere on the coast of Florida from September 1st through September 11th, right? But maybe they would be able to track if he didn't pay cash for it, debit card purchases, and be able to find it. 404 UNF, this channel is a Bible thumping clown show. Well, you know what? We do love the Lord, or I do love the Lord. Everyone's welcome here, including you. You're welcome here. You don't have to believe like we believe or like I believe, but we'll take the money from your super chat, and all the money goes into a nonprofit that helps. And so I'll do that with the super chat money that you just sent. You guys would be surprised at how many of those negative Christianity things I get. And I'm like, I don't feel like we're Bible thumping at all. I can't help it that the Bible shapes my worldview, and that's where I speak from. And if there's somebody who has a worldview that's shaped by something else and begins to speak from that, it's totally acceptable. Really any other viewpoint. But as soon as somebody starts to share a viewpoint that comes from the Bible, all of these people come out of the woodworks and say bigoted and, legalistic and religious and Bible thumping and whatever. And it just isn't true. In fact, we're so open-minded and welcoming at this channel. And I love the Bible. It's the foundation of who I am, Diane. I can't help it.
I'm the same way. I am. And when I saw that, I had to chuckle, because I thought, they don't realize it, that I think one of the reasons it upsets them so much is that they're under conviction.
You know what's funny? Like, from Christians, I get the opposite feedback. Like, I can't believe you're not talking about the Bible. And then from people who are not like opposite of that, they're like, you're just a Bible thumper. I'm like, I'm definitely somewhere in the middle between those two things.
Well, then you get the ones that bring up some Old Testament verse and start trashing God because he said to do this or do that back in the Old Testament, or take things completely out of context.
I know, it's hard. So anyways, back on subject. What are your thoughts today about?
Well, first of all, thank you to all the people who checked on me.
Everyone was missing you.
Well, yesterday I was waiting to have something to say. A lot of people were saying what I was thinking. And so I didn't want to call just to
Well, what's not being said today is the real question.
Well, and then I lost my internet last night, so I didn't get to see the last half of the show until the middle of today. And then as soon as you came on tonight, our internet went down. And when it came back up, our oldest son called from Maryland. His father-in-law was rushed to the hospital. He's
my
in stage 5 kidney failure.
Oh my golly.
And he's got to have a transplant, but they discovered that his bladder is full of yeast pustules, and they have to fix that before he can have the transplant. So, but this was totally unexpected today, so they called us for prayer. You know, it's what our family does, you know, when something goes wrong. So, so I talked with them for about an hour. So I missed part of the show, but I did hear people talking about the coroner. And when it first came out that he was going to be losing his position, I saw that he was fired. 30 minutes later, he resigned.
Yeah.
And then it was because he's a hospitalist. And then it's because he's a contract physician. And then it's because no one's allowed to use their personal computers on the hospital ground. And then it's because he was the only, you know, he's saying that's not the rule. So, you know, everything I've seen, like these FBI guys who have gone on these different news shows, when they bring him up in the coroner's report, they talk about how thorough he was. This one guy said, you don't see CAT scans with, you know, that's something that's just not done. You're lucky if you get x-rays.
Yes.
And so he went beyond the call of duty. And I've heard nothing from these guys who are professionals at this, but praise for this, you know, small town coroner. And it's not a high paying position. You know, it's not something he expected to be called on regularly, and probably the only murder he's seen in his time on the position. But, you know, I hate to have people talk bad about others when we don't know the situation. And he's you know, he's going to take some time with his family. His time doesn't end until February at the hospital, I saw. And he's going to be in talks with them. But of course, you know, I have to admit, my first thought was book deal.
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah, he could. I mean, he could be trying to set up his life beyond Teton County. You know?
Then there was someone else who said late last night, I think it was, about going back to Cassie. They were saying, oh, the way she crossed her arms. You know, a lot of times when you're uncomfortable, you cross your arms because you don't know what, you know, it's almost like all of a sudden they feel like they don't belong.
Yeah.
You know, and
I do it when I don't feel very good. Like if I'm preaching and you see me do that, it's because like, okay, I'm not feeling very good and I'm just trying to make it through the next few minutes.
Well, I love your sermons. I really
Thank
do.
you. Thank you.
And in fact, you hit the nail on the head on Sunday. The first thing you said was, what did we do when the pandemic started? We all went out and got a hobby. I have like 100 necklaces with bracelets and earrings that I've made since I just finished one tonight that looks like Indian corn. It's like 38 inches long, but it keeps my mind busy. But no, I went back and I went step by step with what Cassie said, and she was asked, you know, about the polygraph, and she said no, you know, they hadn't asked her. People are adding to this, you know, that her husband looked funny, they glanced at each other funny. It just, don't read stuff into this, you know. It reminds me of the devil on the doorknob remark, you know. So we need to be careful because there's a lot of innocent people being hurt by it. See my husband in the background?
We see him.
He can't. They're telling you he wants your microphone. As soon as you came on tonight, he said he wants your blue bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot how many microphones he has now. I think it's 17. I may be wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, he telling me he has one voice. But yeah, so we just need to be careful with stuff like that. And then I don't know if you discussed this earlier or not, but hi, Gavis. I think Brian is hiding in plain sight in Costa Rica or Mexico or someplace like that. I really, really, really believe that on the night of the 6th when it was so dark, some relative or some employee, canoed up close enough and he waded out, and then they took him to a boat, and he's been gone since September the 6th. And it's going to be hard to find him if we don't get the pictures out there. And I was so glad you got that. Gavis, I love that wanted poster. I put it in my Facebook because I told people that, when you look at the map that you did from the trip from Moab down, the route would have had them get off the back roads basically and get on I-20 to go to 75. The exit is 1 mile from my house. My cul-de-sac backs up to I-20. And, there's a little bit of trees and stuff so people don't see it. But I could walk down there and, easily walk to I-20 in just minutes. And so it's kind of creepy. Like Tyler and I were saying, he was in both of our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And
he was next to both of us, Diane, and we don't live nowhere close to each other. So
maybe that's the other reason this thing's hit home with everybody. This guy's traveled pretty close to just about everyone in the entire country.
And you really don't know, where he is now. So we all need to be aware, not like the people who are banging down bedroom doors and wrestling people to the ground, but at least be aware of your surroundings. And if you do see somebody that fits, really, really fits the description,
yep,
then I would call, but not one thing.
Diane, I'm pretty sure the emergency rooms aren't completely full, so we can relax that leniency for a while.
Yeah.
Emergency rooms have been pretty full, just so you know.
Oh.
They were turning people away because of COVID stuff.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit better down here.
It's getting better here too, but
yeah.
For a while,
have a problem. We have a problem with a lot of people who believe the what is it? The little chip under the skin in the needle.
Oh.
And so they won't get the vaccines. So, but that's another show.
It's another subject I don't talk about on this channel. But
okay, guys. Well, that's where I was.
Thank you, Diane, for calling in, and you're inside on the corner.
I'm always here. I just not always gonna say something. So
your husband's waving bye to us as he's watching the Braves on the TV. So thanks, Diane. Have a good evening.
You too, guys. Good night.
Good night. Sorry, buddy. I slept in. I've been going hard all night, and then I said I'll take a power nap, and I literally just woke up like 5 minutes ago. So sorry to strand you like that.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Grandma Patty's here too.
Okay.
Hi, am I on?
Gavis, Grandma Patty made a puppet show of us. I have an important phone call I got to take, but can you guys talk for a minute?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Patty. How are you?
Hi. Yeah. He didn't forward that email to you?
No. Not yet.
He probably was afraid to. But I wanted you to see her T-shirt. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. Hey, hi, Gavis. How you doing?
I'm
Here
doing
I am.
great.
Hi. Okay. Can you see it? Is it backwards?
As soon as possible.
Oh. Huh?
Always say a prayer. Okay.
Ah, good for you. You are a smart lad.
I try.
You know, I'm not good at and like you're sleuthing and deep diving. I'm the comic relief. Is that okay?
That's good. We need it.
Okay, thanks. We do need it. But I had one question, okay? Tell me this.
Sure.
As far as him being a chameleon, that's kind of scary to me.
No, he's just getting a lot of help, Patty. No. He's not a chameleon. He's just average. You're breaking up, Patty. Your mic is going.
Look, I told you that my sons weren't interested in the case.
Right.
So I got to speak to one of them who wanted to hear a little bit about it. And as I went on to describe, or, to make a long story short with him, he said, wait a minute, Mom. Wait a minute. You're saying that he murdered his girlfriend, stole her debit card, drove her van to her parents' house. By the way, we're the first place the cops would look. And you want me to really think that he killed her? So Bertolino has already set up his defense opening statement, saying they didn't even charge him with murder. They charged him with credit card fraud. And they're trying to say my client is guilty. So that's what worries me. I'm fast forwarding to the trial because I'm really hoping and praying we catch him. But
And they'll say that they shared a bank account and finances and all that too. They were both paying for the van. They were both.
Yeah, I'm just I just went back to that Casey Anthony case about, her daughter being missing, a toddler, a baby, 31 days, and she didn't report her missing.
Yeah.
Who does that? And she got off.
No one that I know.
She got off. She got off.
It's sad. It's heartbreaking.
Right. Well, you guys, thank you for letting me speak my piece, and have a blessed night. Love you
Grandma
guys.
Patty, I love the email you sent me last weekend. I laughed so hard.
Oh, please forward it to Gavis.
I was driving down. I had a long drive on Saturday. Driving down the road, I got that email from you. I was like laughing so hard driving down the road.
Yeah. While you were gone, I told Gavin, I'm not the deep diver. I'm not the sleuthy person, but I'm your comic relief. Okay.
That's all we need from you, Grandma Patty. Thank you so much.
Okay. God bless you guys. Bye.
Nora, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. And Maureen, I also saw your super chat that you sent in. I just want to thank you for that. You said you appreciate our viewpoint. It doesn't interfere with yours, even though it's not the same. And so thank you so much for that. So Gavis, where's your mind at today on some of the newest stuff?
So the big things we were working on today. I'll go when you shut that down.
Shut what down?
I can hear the video playing.
I don't have a video playing. It must be on your end.
Nope. Promise you.
I don't have a video playing at all. Is it pronounced Zane or Zanny? But thank you so much for your super sticker, and thank you for being a part of the Feller fam too. It means a whole lot.
Do you have another microphone thing open on your...
I got nothing going but this. People watching can't hear anything either.
Yeah, like I can't even communicate with you.
Do you have
And I know mine's perfect. Mine's perfect. I promise you.
Nobody can hear anything but you.
Oh shoot, that's your mic's messed up. But let me just mute all your stuff and I'll just talk about what our game plan is today. So our game plan, he doesn't hear me? I don't hear anything.
It's just you. It's only you, Gavis.
They can only hear me?
No, you're the only one that can hear the sound playing, so it has to be on your end. You have to be playing something on your end.
Oh. Okay, well that's muted.
In the meantime, I'll thank Mary. Mary, thank you for becoming a YouTube member, a part of the Feller fam today. You joined Gypsy and Lauren and Brandy and Susan and Cool Witch and Barbara, Amy, Curious George, Penny, and Maggie, who all joined the Feller fam today. Thank you so much for doing that. It means a whole lot. We got a great Feller fam building.
Anyway, what we worked on today was putting together routes for someone to travel on the ground in Western Florida and then also in Eastern Florida. And we've got people over with us that are ready to go do it tomorrow. So we put together maps and pictures of what they're going to be looking for, ideas that we're thinking to clear those off of our markers, and just had a fabulous team that was digging into Denison yachts today. They found a connection to Puerto Rico. They found another connection to Cancun internationally. Some court cases involving those people and individuals that we can get to. So it was a really productive day. We was up all night, so it's good.
So, do you still hear sound?
I hear you.
You don't hear video playing?
No, not now.
Stephanie, how are you?
Hi guys, this is my first time calling in. I don't know if I need to do anything so that you guys don't hear any back.
You sound great. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Well, I just want to say you guys are amazing. I found your channel when I had seen other channels, and I just can't stop tuning in. Like the other callers, I feel obsessed with this whole case. But some things have been weighing on my heart lately. When all this happened and came on the news, I also felt like there was a connection to the two girls, Kylan and Crystal.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask Gavis what your thoughts are. I know with your timeline, I mean, I haven't heard the whole timeline because I don't think you've actually put it on. I've listened to a lot of videos, but like they're very lengthy. So I don't know if I missed something, but what are you exactly seeing that ties Brian to the two girls?
Dear God, I guess you haven't seen my 3 hour and 44-minute video. If you go to Twitch, you can.
I'm not on Twitch. I don't really know what Twitch is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's going to give you just a rundown, Stephanie, of why there's the connection.
Okay, so basically the connection is if you watch the long video, you can see where Brian says that they spent the entire day on the 12th when they got arrested at 4:55 to 6:01, that they were at the Moonflower the entire morning is what Brian says. So he says he's there from 9 o'clock.
Right. So you think that they met somehow? They had to
have
got in contact with each other.
I think undoubtedly, because Kylan was working that day. She's a van lifer. She smoked pot. She's beautiful and young, just like Gabby. To think that they would spend 6 hours or less sort of in close confines of the Moonflower Cafe is just, I think, unbelievably
crazy, right?
Exactly.
So my question to you is, like, where's the connection with Gabby? Because I know that you have said, and I don't want to hurt anyone on the channel or anything like that, but you have said that it's possible that she was involved.
I want to state for the record, I do not believe that.
We have to build in different scenarios, right, Stephanie?
But let me say this for the record, because people are going to eat me up in the comments. For the record, I do not believe Gabby was involved at all. Okay.
Because this is justice for Gabby, of course, so, but go ahead, Gavis.
So basically, when they had the fight at the Moonflower, Brian doesn't know who turned him in, right? The police officer just says, I have 2 eyewitnesses that turned you in and said you hit her, right? So Brian is terrified at that police stop. So that night when he gets to the hotel, which is directly across from the Moonflower, he's looking there the whole night and he's angry because he thinks that Kylan probably turned him in.
Okay, so that's where it's coming from, because I have heard that before. So you think it's just his anger, he lashed out and possibly murdered both of the women. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
He absolutely was very angry about that. You could see the anger he had at the Mary Piglet just before Gabby met her demise also. So we see a pattern there. We also know that they know where every campground is in that area because Gabby researched all of these different campgrounds and locations well beforehand. She'd mentioned Warner Campground in her Dirt app. So typically they would always stay at every single site that Gabby pinned on her map.
Right.
So that would have been extremely close to where Crystal and Kylan's body was found. So there's a bunch of scenarios where we can work Gabby into being at the site or Gabby not. So after they left the police thing, the police told Gabby where Brian was basically going to be staying near the Moonflower. and they also told Gabby where Brian was going to be staying. So they could have known exactly that night. Brian could have, this is where Gabby's not involved. So Gabby could have stayed in the hotel, and Brian said, well, I'll just take the van. We'll chill out. We'll just be separated. I don't want you to get caught here or whatever, right? So then that could have been the night where Brian goes out on his own and does it. Now, there's another scenario where Brian leaves Gabby in town. She's working on her blog, and Brian sneaks out early that morning and goes and gets the girls.
Right.
But there's also a scenario where it happens at 1 o'clock in the morning on the 13th, and those girls were shot, and Gabby's acting out Harley Quinn. So we have to account for all those different scenarios until we get more information.
Which is just totally, I mean, it's just so insane, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The connection there. And then, you know, I also thought back to how everyone has said that Brian's parents are so standoffish and stuff like that. And I think it leads back to the attorney and their friendship. But I know that there's so many different personalities out there, and like some people are like that. Some people are just really stern. They don't show emotion. They don't, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. But he did something, you know, I know for a fact he did something, but it, like what Diane was saying, the connection with Casey Anthony and, you know, Kaylee Anthony, you know, she went all that time without saying something, and these parents are going all this time without saying something. I don't know. And I've also heard that the attorney that took Casey Anthony may take this case. I don't know if that's false information or not. Have you guys heard that?
Somebody said that, but they reached out to that law firm, and the guy said, we don't know anything about this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And then the connections, you know, with their money and stuff like that. I mean, he's hiding somewhere that they have to know something. But what's also strange to me, like you said, you guys have multiple times said, with the sister, you know, her kids were so close with Brian. For Brian not to ask, for their kids not to ask where Gabby is, that just couldn't have happened. There's just no way. That's why part of me believes Cassie and part of me does not believe Cassie at all.
Well, Brian could have just said they broke up and Gabby went home.
Yeah, that's true. But why wouldn't she have said that, you know?
She's been on a gag order from the lawyer to begin with. And then after that, it was the FBI that basically told her to keep her mouth shut. So she's in a no-win position.
Yeah, but it was also really good seeing Bridget or hearing Bridget on the call as well. I mean, so I just pray that, you know, he comes up, showing up somewhere, you know, and this is all, you know, we get some answers. But
no, have hope that we're just gonna chase him out, and we're gonna keep looking at locations that he could potentially be at, and by the time we get to the end of that, we'll get him.
But I thank you guys so much, and Tyler, you're so wonderful. You know, keep it up, and thanks again, guys, for your time.
We appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Museum Americana sends a super chat and says, Brian will be caught. One of us was wanted by the FBI and were caught 2 weeks after escaping from the jail in the 80s. The plan was to leave the country. I hope so, Museum Americana. Thank you for the super chat. I'm believing as well. Rita, thank you for the super sticker. It said, how's it going? That's a great question. Gavis, how's it going?
Good. Got a good sleep.
That's good.
A power nap.
We had someone in our church that lost their father today. And so that's why I had to take that call. And that just is part of duties of the pastors. But it's important to me. I'd rather do that than I'd rather be a pastor to those people than be on YouTube. So
yeah,
one of my elders was calling me to get the update of what had happened. So Coastal Butterfly, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Great. Wonderful. Love it when we have people join the Feller fam. It's a great community, Gavis, that we're building here. And I actually, like, in my heart of hearts, I just believe that this group is assembling because it's going to be a breakthrough in this case. All of our little detectives, by the way, the next emoji that I'm going to make is going to be a female detective emoji because we have so many inspiring females on this channel that are doing such a great job of getting leads and sending us stuff and whatever. I want a female detective emoji just to represent the hard work that so many of the great females on our channel are doing.
I'm telling you, what these guys do in my Discord is scary. Like, if there's anyone that we want to go find, we could pretty much find them in a couple days. It's crazy.
What do you have any other ideas of emojis?
A melon for Melon Boy.
Well, that's what Grizzly uses. We can't steal her stuff.
What else does he like then?
I wouldn't do that to her.
Like how about two big hairy feet? Like what are those characters from Hobbit? Yeah, like Hobbit feet.
Oh my gosh.
That would be good.
Jordan, so Gavis can purchase a different colored curtain, maybe one with designs.
Hey, I'm frugal. Sorry, Jordan.
Oh, Jordan, you're making me laugh, man. Thank you for sending in that super chat. Chris Spunky, thank you for the super chat. You said, I'm glad I found you guys. Thanks for being legit. We do our best to be legit.
Yeah, and it's hard to be legit. I know that everyone is upset about a scenario there, but we have to account for every scenario.
So did you see the video of Christopher Laundrie shopping at Walmart today?
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about the last girl talking about how smart they are. I'm like, are you kidding me? They wear their stupid masks in their car. How smart can this family be? It's not them that's smart. It's the lawyer telling them just keep their mouth shut, and they look smart for doing that.
What do you think about them buying 2 cases of water bottles?
I'll probably do explain why they bought the water before.
This is like strategic reason why they did it.
Yeah, exactly. And to buy another phone to show that it was strategic, right?
I don't know. I could just be they drink bottled water.
Yeah.
Brenda, how are you?
Hi, Brenda.
I'm fine. How are you guys doing?
Thank you for
some
calling.
good questions. I'm getting ready already.
So I would like to have some more information about Gavis.
Sure.
Is he a PI?
No.
He's an engineer.
Are you just a regular guy just like me?
I got angry as hell about nobody being able to figure out the Gabby part of the situation. And then I got roped into Crystal and Kylan because I had to eat my words. I didn't think they were connected. And then when I had to go back and do the hard work, I realized they were. So just kind of fell into this. And, maybe it was a spiritual thing. Maybe this is how Tyler and I got together. I don't know. But
awesome. That's awesome. So I want to get your take on the message that was sent about Stan, the text message.
Yeah.
Everybody puts that out there like, can you help Stan?
Right.
I see it as, can you help?
Yep.
Stan, voicemails, messages. How do you see it?
Well, we don't have enough information up here, but again, this is another situation where we have to put in 2 different scenarios. So I personally believe that Stan text was sent from Gabby on the night of the 27th. And it was her in a tent, scared out of her tree because she saw Brian turning into the big bad wolf. And then the other scenario is that it's Brian sending it to try to throw off authorities when he sends the no service in Yosemite text. So until we know exactly when those texts were sent, it's pure speculation.
Okay. So then the other thing is, do you honestly think he would hide in plain sight?
No.
I don't think he would take that risk.
The lawyer wouldn't take that risk. You guys are thinking about this the wrong way. It's not the Laundries that are so amazing at this. This is the lawyer and the money connected to the lawyer. Follow the money and you will find him. Period.
Correct. And I'm following you and I get where you're going. So where are you at, Gavis?
I'm in Canada.
And you're in Illinois?
Yes.
Tyler? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know where you were coming from, Gavis, but we had some breaking news today on Xavier. They did go and search a house today. And I live about 20 minutes away from Xavier Harrelson. I'm sure you've probably heard of him, Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've been to Illinois and I've seen the flyers and everything there. I went to Poopies. So anyway, you guys have a good night, and thank you for allowing me to ask questions.
Thank you for calling in.
Bye.
So yesterday we did a big thing where if you are part of the Feller fam, then you got to guess a number to win a Feller fam mug. And so I'm going to just show you guys what that Feller fam mug was and who the winner is. So this was the Feller fam mug that we were giving away. And I was saying guess a number between 1 and 1,000. And the winner, my number was 455. And Dakota guessed 456. And so Dakota, I sent you a message. I said connect with my assistant. She'll get your information and we will get that ordered for you. A Feller fam mug. Those of you who are interested, just a short commercial break, you can go to tylerfeller.com/merch, and on there you'll see all kinds of great merch. There's Feller fam and Don't Stop merch. So we got Don't Stop hoodies, we got Feller fam hoodies, hats, mugs, all kinds of stuff, literally like all kinds of stuff. And I also have a book that's coming out on November 16th called the Don't Stop book. And if you guys are interested in ordering that, I really think you're going to love it. And you can go to tylerfeller.com/don't stop if you're interested. I don't know if you're interested or not, but if you're interested, you like reading, you can pick up the book that way. Allie, how are you?
Hi. I'm good. I don't think I have a lot of points today.
Okay.
I actually more just decided to call in and see if you wanted any of my insight on anything that was bugging you.
What do you think about the coroner?
Oh, we saw that the other day.
Do you think it corrupts him in trial? Because he is the most important key witness, according to John Walsh.
Well, I don't know if you remember, I did bring that up way back. Even him speculating that it was a domestic violence thing kind of puts him in a bad position.
And then he's been convicted of a domestic violence charge in the past.
Shooting at his ex-wife, even her
Shooting
car as she was driving away. Yeah.
You think that? You think that's going to?
Do I think it's a conflict of interest? I think that in the court of public opinion, it is. Whether or not there's a legality behind that, I'm not sure. It's not.
There's anthropologists or whatever, etymologists, toxicologists. So those other people are going to have to step up and be sort of the key witnesses in that.
Right. And they have, like, he said that there were many other people involved in the autopsy anyways. So I would think or hope that if they disclude him, they have all them, because you're going to have the forensic pathologists in there, anthropologists. In fact, I saw on another live, they had a lady in there talking about that side of things. I watched a lot of yesterday's videos through YouTube. Anybody that went live last night, I went through. But that didn't garner me much information, only a couple of channels I will not go back to.
That's what happens when I do that. I'm like, okay, I'll click the thing like, don't show me this channel anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is one thing about today that I wanted to kind of point out, because it was talked about a little earlier over in Discord in the general chat, that it would be possible that they're going to places that are blatantly obvious but suspicious, like going to the AT&T store.
Mm-hmm.
If I was trying to hide my fugitive son, who was on the run at an FBI and media level that this is, I certainly wouldn't be going right to a phone store to buy a phone, disposable phone. I'd buy it at Dollar General or a Walmart, where they have throwaway phones sitting right next to the cash
The AT&T thing was fake.
Yeah, just think of the lawyer having to defend the first purchase on the 14th, right? Now he's like, well, they do it all the time. It's easy. Come on. It's not just one time. They did it again on the 19th here.
Well, and it's not an uncommon thing in a lot of newer, crime related things. Like, so it's not like law enforcement or anybody, trying to locate things wouldn't be aware that you can buy a phone at Dollar General for $20.
Allie, were you chasing that stuff down with the other girl on Denison today? Are you Iceland?
Huh?
Are you Iceland? In my Discord? No? Okay.
Allie. Just Allie.
Okay.
I did do a little bit of the Denison work last night, though, I think is when I messaged on there about that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your effort. I appreciate it.
Zanny Moonstone says, Tyler Gavis / Allie, please share your thoughts on the theory about South Africa. Not impossible to cross the Atlantic, or am I just silly? So it's possible. There's 1,000 reasons why it's possible. However, it'd be much more likely he'd go to Central America than South Africa. Has there been sightings in South Africa? I Googled it and I couldn't find any.
I've got a rabbit hole that goes all the way to Paris. I haven't chased that rabbit hole yet, but it is possible.
Moonstone, are people saying in South Africa that he's there? Because I want to know. Are there woof farms in South Africa? I'm sure there are. At least
there
one.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Denison Yachts has a place in Hong Kong too.
Exactly. Wow. It's real.
They are like worldwide organization, and it's huge, and it goes down some really dark rabbit holes too.
So they're probably chilling out in South Africa. So Avery says, I have a poll question. After hearing Rose say Gabby slapped Brian for taking her driver's license, do you all think the violence was mutual? I'll put that as a poll question. And I also want to thank Leary, Donna, Zimberry for the super chat. Thank you for your support. What do you guys think about Avery's question? Was the DV mutual?
She should have broke up with him right then and there when he was an insecure little baby and took her card so she couldn't go line dancing with a good friend. She should have cut the relationship off right there. She should have more than slapped him. She should have punched him right in the teeth. Everyone agrees.
Well, I can't imagine who wouldn't be emotional if your boyfriend just took your phone, was in your vehicle and trying to take off and leave you in a place that's many thousands of miles away from home. I don't know, North Dakota from New York's like 1,500, so they're probably over 2,000 miles away.
Yeah, and somebody just said, like, she's 105 pounds, so he wasn't really afraid of the consequences of being a donkey.
So far the people are responding to the poll. When it gets to 1,000, it's more reliable, but we're about 62% no and 38% yes. That's higher than I thought it was going to be according to the polls.
It is higher. But physical abuse doesn't sound to be the main type of abuse that was occurring between them. It really does seem like it was narcissistic behavior. I'm not a professional, but from my standpoint, in my opinion, it seems like the abuse was more mental than anything. But mental abuse often turns to physical abuse.
It only escalates. It only escalates. For sure.
I got out, probably very close to being on the other end of a case like this. So I know it starts off cool as a cucumber and it ends up in a bad place.
Well,
but
you've done a great job, and the Lord's using what you've gone through as a source of now something for you to fight back with. It's what, God always does. The things the enemy uses to harm us, God turns them around and works them out for good. So you're doing a good job. Thank you for
Thank
calling
you
in
so
today,
much, Tyler.
Alan. Yeah.
Have a great night.
I think some people wonder too, like, why I have a stance when I'm talking about like Brian and the Laundrie family, where I'm a little more gracious. And I just believe this, like, if I speak negatively, really negatively publicly about somebody, I almost forfeit my right to speak into their lives positively at any point. And I just kind of like, even people in the music industry and different things that do things that I just totally disagree with, that I think that counter what I believe, like, I don't speak against that person as a person, because that negates my opportunity to speak into them with what I think the Bible wants me to do. And so I just very careful about how I talk about people, because I don't want to ruin my opportunity somewhere along the way to have a conversation with them. Ultimately, that's what everybody would want, like, for anybody. If somebody's not in a good spot, I'm not talking about Brian Laundrie, talking about generally speaking, if somebody's bad but could turn good through the grace of God, that's what we want. And the goal to get there is never going to be through demeaning them and demeaning what they do. Like, you ruin your opportunity to speak into them. So I'm not saying that they're good. I'm saying that maybe somewhere down the line they could come to realize what they've done or is doing is bad, so that things are better for the people around them in the future. Tat Cat says, "Hey guys, I don't think the violence was mutual. You only have to see how scared she was on the police cam. She was in fear of him." I'm not going to disagree probably with that. I don't know. She did hit him. She said that, but I don't, it's not this hitting somebody and abusing somebody felt like two different things when they talked about it. Does that make sense? Like, hers was responsive almost, like, right?
Yeah. She's just angry, frustrated. And Brian pushed her to that point too, right? So he's not afraid to get hit by a 105-pound girl. So.
Jason, how are you?
How you doing?
Are you driving down the road?
Yes.
Now I know what truckers are doing when I drive by them. I see them with their headsets on. I thought they were talking to each other, but now I know they're talking to YouTubers.
Right. Yeah, I'm just trucking. I've been listening to you guys for a while, trying to keep track if they ever find this guy, and I really hope they do. But I give you guys props for listening to some of these theories and thoughts and stuff. I don't know. I think it would drive me crazy after about 10 minutes, just to some of the same stuff. It's just so...
There's a phrase that I use sometimes called "eat the fish and leave the bones." And sometimes people call in and they say stuff that I 99% disagree with, but they'll say a little 1% nugget, and it allows me to see the situation a little bit differently than I did before. Practicing the art of empathy, flipping the map, trying to get a different perspective. It prepares you for what we're trying to do a little bit better. And Renee says in a super chat, by the way, I feel when the Moab law enforcement pulled them over, you couldn't see the marks on his face. He gets out, goes around the van, bam, he has scratches. Did he self-inflict? What did you think about that? Do you think he was self-inflicting? Thank you, Renee, for the super chat.
I don't really think he was. I mean, personally, I think it's pretty simple. They both had a really good relationship in a sense, but they were both maybe jealous of each other, or jealous that one of them would find someone else. Who knows? But and of course, Brian was jealous too. I was actually in a relationship like that too. It was very stressful, frustrating. We were both jealous of each other because we both knew each other can find somebody else easy. But we were so in love with each other, it just made us, everything was a battle. And I personally, unfortunately, even was in a situation like that where I felt I could have hurt her, because I got to that point, I was so jealous. And like it is tough to feel that way of so much love towards somebody and not knowing other opportunities or other people out there. You just feel that that person is the only one in your life, and you will refuse anyone else. You don't give a shit about no one else. You know, it's that person only. So I think they might have gotten a couple confrontations. Who knows? And
We got to be
that
careful with the
day,
language on the channel.
oh, sorry. But
It's okay.
that day, I think he acted on it. I never acted on it, of course, luckily. And I think he just acted on it, whether it was by mistake or what, you know, and that's what I kind of think it is. It's just simple. He, by mistakenly acted on it, killed her by mistake, or thought maybe he was just going to make her pass out, something to that matter. And then now he's scared, obviously, because she died, and now he's scared, and he thinks he might go to jail forever. And I think he's where nobody thinks he would be. Oh, he should be in the woods. He should be over in this place or that place. No, I think he's somewhere where nobody is looking.
Where's that?
He's, I don't know, like not in any of the places where, oh, he's in the woods, he's doing this. No, he's not in the woods. He's gonna survive. I think he's too much of a wuss or a coward. He's not going to live on squirrels or rabbits or something out in the woods. I don't think he's going to do that. You know, like, how else are you going to live out in the wilderness and whatever? You got to eat that kind of stuff, and it is what it is. But I don't think he's doing that. I think he has access. He's able to disguise himself good enough or cover up, like a mask or whatever, you know. But I mean, who knows? He's probably in some state, whether it could even be close to Florida or where was the other place, Wyoming or New York or something. It's just kind of on the outskirts, not right in town or right near home. You know, he's not going to be right near home. That's what I think. I think it's simple. There ain't no crazy scenarios and oh, he's doing this and doing that, and it's simple.
Thank you, Jason, for your thoughts. People in the chat, some of them say they agree with you. Some of them don't, but that's okay. And also, please be careful while you're driving that big truck.
Yep, I'm just pulling in a truck stop.
One more other thing. If you're not driving 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, get out of the left lane. All right?
Exactly.
That is my message to all big
exactly. I hate that.
Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
I just saw somebody ask if they can print my poster. Yes, you absolutely can print my poster. No problem.
Huda says, as a cognitive behavior therapist, mental health counselor, I believe it was physical, emotional, mental abuse, and clear DV, period. Thank you, Huda, for the super chat. I think a lot of people definitely agree with you on that. Shelly Beans, thank you for joining the Feller fam. Couldn't think of a better fam for you to join than the Feller fam, and we're excited to have you. Empty Tomb Productions says, got the book last night. Can't wait, bro. Can't wait to get it out to you. Had a call with my publishing team today. Looking forward to getting it out. Hopefully, for those of you that made a purchase, we could get it out a bit sooner. Maybe a bit sooner if you did an early purchase. I also, if you're making a purchase, a pre-purchase, I want to be able, and I know, Kim, you did. I'm going to ask you to write an Amazon review whenever time comes. Anyways, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
I'm doing well.
Good. So I debated on calling in about this because I can't validate any of what I'm about to tell you, but it's very interesting in light of what we were just talking about. So I thought I'd go ahead and mention it. And Gavish, you may have already been, if you've already been down this rabbit hole, let me know. But there is a girl called Christy Ricks on TikTok. Have you heard about her?
I might have. I just look at TikToks. I don't keep track of names anymore.
Okay. So she has a series of 3 different videos, and she claims that on August 1st that she picked up Brian hitchhiking after he and Gabby had gotten in a fight. And to be clear, she's not victim blaming at all. She's actually just more scared or kind of, I guess, horrified that she picked Brian up after this had happened. But she had a lot of details. Like, apparently he was in her car for almost about an hour and a half, and she took him to an airport and she knew all the details of like where he and Gabby started. I mean, it was clearly based on at least what she said, if she's telling the truth. It was clear that it was Brian that she picked up. Yeah, that's why I said I'm
Yeah, I'm
kind of
having a tough time because if you go back to August 1st on the timeline, they would have been somewhere in the middle of the United States. So
right. Well, it was Idaho that she actually dropped him off at the Idaho airport.
no, it couldn't be then because they were further back. They had just met, they had left the Dragon's Tooth and Appalachian Trail and moving west, right? So kill that.
Okay. Because she was basically saying, I mean, just so you know what she was saying, is that they had gotten in an argument and that he was flying home because he told her, which is now the date that she posted this was before Cassie's interview. So this is what I found interesting. Supposedly, he told her that that he would do that when they were on this trip and they would get in fights, which they did a lot. And so that kind of went hand in hand with Cassie saying he does this a lot when and cut himself off. Remember that part?
Do you know how many? Do you know how many?
But do you think she's coming out with us all after the fact and just trying to get TikTok followers?
Exactly. Do you know how easy? Do you know how easy I could do this stuff? Like I could blow up. I would put JM to shame. I could link stuff. I could link stuff that makes sense, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" But I'm not going to do that because
that's why I said, you know, I hadn't validated. I went and watched her 3 videos and she seemed, you know, sincere. And I'll send you, Tyler, her TikTok and y'all can look at it if you want. She seemed sincere. And she said that she didn't realize it was him until, of course, this all came out in the news and she didn't think anything of it. But here's what I thought kind of gave her story a little bit of merit, or there's a few other things going on in my mind about it. But she said that if they found Brian's phone, that her sister's phone number would be in his phone because her sister had given him her phone number in case yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I'm like, that maybe there's another reason.
But like that thing that Avery sent me last night had her phone number in there. So it's like, even that's easily accessible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just thought it was really interesting because she had so many details. And then at the end, the very last video was like, and if they find his phone, they're going to find my sister's phone number in his phone. And this is why. And I was like, well, that may be in a whole elaborate setup for explaining why her sister's phone number may be in his phone.
Wow.
I just thought that was kind of interesting. So I didn't know if y'all had checked that out, but it's the first time I've seen her videos, and it was Christy Ricks, and there was some numbers after it, but I can send it to you, Tyler.
If you can send it to me, it's hard to get on TikTok on this thing because of how they do it. So I don't want to necessarily get on TikTok. Plus, I don't like playing videos without previewing them first. But I'll check it out. And sometimes I feel like I feel it in my heart if it's true or not before I research it, and then usually I turn out to be right on it.
Yeah.
How'd you feel in your heart?
I believed her, but I wasn't sure about the timeline, like what Gavis was saying. She seemed very sincere. So, I mean, could she have gotten the date? And the little things that she said, and I get what Gavis, what you're saying too, but little things that she said, like she's a victim of DV. She posted, she had put her previous partner in prison. So she said when Brian's his knuckles were messed up, and she said, how did your knuckles get messed up and how'd you get that scratch on the side of your eye? And he said, I got in a fight with my girlfriend. And she said, this is her words, did you hit her? If so, then I will put you out right here because I put my ex in prison for assaulting me. Wow. And he said, no, I didn't hit her. I hit something else. But anyway, the things that were just kind of striking me, I guess, kind of in my heart, like you were saying, were the fact that he said that I fly home when we get in these exchanges, but this time it's really over. And then, you know, that was August 1st. And she said that he said he was coming back the 6th. I can't remember. But anyway, and then she made the comment about her sister's number being in his phone. And so I was like, well, that's interesting too. Like, is this whole thing a setup because her sister's number is going to be in his phone?
Do you think that they would have like any information about
numbers that were in the phone, even if they didn't have the phone?
Yeah, like, did she make any previous posts or tell friends, like, by the way, August 1st, I picked this dude up and he was creeping me out?
Not that I saw. She said the reason why she made these videos, and she turned off comments, and she doesn't have that many followers, but I mean, she's not like a TikToker, like trying to make that her career. It doesn't seem like. It seems like she just posts TikToks. But she basically said that her dad had spoken to the guy too, because I can't remember exactly why, but her dad had spoken to the guy. So her dad called her up and said, "Isn't this the guy that you and your sister picked up?" And that's when she realized, yes, that was him.
It's
So,
interesting. I'm not
yeah,
going to completely discount it because to me, it's interesting. So it gives us something to talk about tomorrow night.
Yeah, there you go. So that gives maybe something to research. I'll send it to y'all and let you look at it and see. I mean, because she could have had the dates wrong too, Gavis. I mean, she's, remembering a story that was 3 months ago, but it just was interesting. Some of the similarities of things she said that have since come out, especially the Cassie saying he does that when, never mind, I don't think I'm going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what did you think too about, do we have more subjects on this?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. I was going to ask you what you thought about Brian's coworker saying he was a chameleon.
I wasn't surprised. That's
what I said.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at that. That seems like he's the kind that can turn on the charm when needed, and that is possibly a different person in private. I mean, I'm 50 years old, and so I've had a lot of experience with those kind of people that are one person in person, in public, and can change their persona depending on who they're with at the moment. So I wasn't surprised at all by that. I think the interview, if you read the full interview, was a little more innocuous than maybe some people on Twitter are making it seem, because he did say that he was a charming guy, pretty normal, those kind of things. He said he was just, a chameleon and could, kind of basically sell himself. He didn't make it sound like he was as horrible of a person as people are making the interview out to be. So he was actually a little more flattering in the interview in some ways than I would have expected someone to do, Brian.
That's true. I mean, I agree with you. He was kind of flattering in it. What did you think about that, Gavis?
I didn't see it.
Basically, he had a worker come out today and was saying Brian's basically a chameleon. He fits into any type of environment. Like, he would sometimes get mad. Gabby was a sweetheart. She would show up.
Does it sound more like a split personality than a chameleon?
Sounds more like someone who is able to maybe narcissistic, someone who's able to charm people into believing that they're a good guy, and then behind closed doors they might be somebody totally different.
Yeah, like a split.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because he basically said that, he was always struck him as weird, but there was no reason for him to really think that. That was the sense he got more than anything else.
Yeah, I think he does give off that creepy vibe, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what he was saying, is basically he was a charmer, he seemed to get along with everybody, but I always sensed he was weird, that kind of thing. So anyway.
Great thoughts, Kim.
Yeah.
Moonstone sent in the thing too about South Africa, and I was like, where's she picking up the South Africa thing? And then she sent another one, a super chat that I haven't had a chance to get to yet, and she said he posted somewhere online that he was interested in South Africa and New Zealand because his favorite movies were filmed there. I didn't know that. So those are some thoughts that I didn't really have time to think about. So what do you guys think about that?
There's that, and then that made me think of something else that Christy girl said, that there was some place in Idaho that he said was one of his favorite places as a kid. So apparently his parents must have traveled around quite a bit with him when he was a child. But that's interesting about South Africa and New Zealand, because Gavis, weren't you South Africa one of the places you were talking about, or was it New Zealand?
No, I was always Honduras, Costa Rica, Belize.
That's what I'm thinking. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's very, very interesting. But I'll do some more digging into the Christy Ricks thing tomorrow too, and I'll send it to you, Tyler, and
it'd be perfect.
Let y'all look at it. But that's it. That's all I had to share. Thanks for having me on.
I love it when you call in. Thank you for calling in.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks.
So Tammy sent a super chat. Thank you, Tammy, for the super chat. And then David, you also sent a super chat. Thank you, David. And then Sneakers615, you said left lane, LOL. That gets on my nerves, dude. When the semis are in the left lane and they're a lot of times going 5 miles an hour below the speed limit in the fast lane. It drives me crazy.
Can I tell you a story?
Hang on, I
So-
want to say this too to Sneakers615. Do you have sneakers in Nashville? Are you in Nashville? I want to know about the sneakers, if so. And I want to shout out Dakota again for winning the mug. And then Karen and Patricia, you guys picked up today. You guys picked up the Don't Stop book. Thank you for doing that. Lots of you guys have ordered Don't Stop merch, Feller Fam merch. Can you send me a picture when you get the merch of you wearing it, of you holding up the mug, of you wearing the Feller Fam t-shirt or the Don't Stop hoodie? Please send me a picture because I've never really had merch before, Gavis, like this. And so it's blowing my mind. People are purchasing it. And it's just, to me, it's like something I designed on my computer now is somebody's wearing it. That's crazy. I want to see it. So
yeah, imagine if we go to like a TwitchCon or some massive event and everyone's wearing our merch or something.
I want to host our own. Like, I want to host our own event and see if people would come. Like, let's all get together in person and talk. And I think it'd be really cool. I don't know what city, maybe St. Louis. It's kind of in the middle of the United States. I don't know. It'd be just really cool. Like rent out a ballroom in a hotel and just have like a live, like a literally live show with no name. And by the way, Grandma Patty put her puppet show on Twitter and I retweeted it as we were speaking. And so if you're interested in watching the puppet show, check it out. JXO says, do you know the date that Gabby's parents first reached out to the Laundries about Gabby's whereabouts? I believe it was September 11th. Might have been
No, that was when she was reported missing.
Oh.
So it was before that. Remember, there was 49 or 46 911 calls to the 43343 Wabasso Ave residents.
That's true.
So I think the parents were calling and reporting, do a welfare check. We got to find my daughter. We got to find my daughter. So it was well before that. I would suspect it was probably the third or fourth when they started finding out that Brian was at home.
Wow. Okay. So what was the funny story you were going to tell? Sorry, I had to get through all that stuff.
So one of my uncles is a staff sergeant on the police force, and he told me of an example where they raced from one end of the city to the other, one with the lights flashing and one without. And you know what you save? He said it's like 8 minutes. He said, so don't be a donkey and drive over the speed limit. Just do, 10 over, you'll not get a ticket. But it takes out so much stress with these people that just, they leave 5 feet between each car and they're going 120 kilometers an hour or whatever. It's just silly. So slow down. Life is too short. Just relax. You know what? Build in the extra 15 minutes it might take you or the extra 10 minutes. Not a big deal.
Just relax. It's a dream of mine to have a self-driving vehicle. Then I can definitely relax as I'm driving. I hope they are actually safe.
Yeah, they claim they can do that now, but I don't know if I would be inclined to let the car take control.
So my assistant just sent me a message and said that she has the Feller Fam Facebook group set up. So anybody who's a member of the Feller Fam, it's a private group. We're going to post the link in the membership section after the call. That way you can join it. She's been working hard on getting it set up. She's even made a little graphic for it, and it looks great. So she's done a really great job with it. Hey, Charlie, what's up, man?
Hey, I'm actually a girl. Charlie's a girl.
Well, your
Charlene.
picture does not look
It's
like the girl.
Dog. It's Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Okay. It's hard to tell because it's zoomed in really close.
Oh, well. Anyway, congratulations on your show and your
Thank you.
upcoming book. That's really
Thank you.
wonderful. And so I just have a couple of points. One is when Gabby says she's OCD, 1 million young women say they're OCD now. Even if they're just redecorating and fixing something, it's almost like slang.
I heard somebody say it yesterday. They said I'm borderline OCD to me yesterday, and it made me think about this. I was like,
They
huh,
say
people
it
do
all the time. Or they say, oh my God, my ADD's kicking in. They've never been diagnosed. They just
I've been
say it.
diagnosed with severe ADHD, by the way, just in case you're wondering. So when people say that, sometimes I'm like, you don't know what it's like to
Well,
actually
but
be
that's
let
how you
loose.
can write a book and run a YouTube channel and be a pastor. You know,
Only through the grace of God.
So anyway, another thing I want to talk about is the master manipulation of Brian over Gabby. And this to me took years to cultivate and accumulate a very, very low self-esteem for Gabby. She felt, and this is just all in my head, she felt she needed him on the trip. And why did she feel she needed him on the trip? Because he made her feel that he was indispensable. And I believe, they say that psychopaths are transactional. They suck up to people and become the person that they think you want to be so that they can get something they want or need. It seemed like Gabby was driven. She was aspiring to be a YouTuber influencer. She had a lot of visual beauty, herself and how she wanted to present things. And I think he was along for the ride. And I think he sold her what I would call a fake future.
Wow.
All these fake futures. And she bought it hook, line, and sinker. And I bet you any dollar that the minute they saw those cops chasing them, he was going off on her. I can't swear on this channel, but the police,
Thank you
this.
for watching yourself.
I know, but he's saying, he looking in the rear view mirror, probably screaming at her and swearing. And then the minute he gets out, he's bros with the police. Why? Because he's a psychopath and it's transactional. He wants, and what does he do? Oh, the cop's like, oh, my wife, she's got a lot of anxiety too. And he starts finding that weakness in the cop, and it's transactional. He ends up getting what he gets. That's what I think. And I just think that he's kind of a bum. She was the brains behind everything. She had it going on. She's a one package deal. Smart, beautiful, driven, creative, and somehow he sold her a fake future. So I don't think she had OCD. I don't think. I think he wore her down like a piece of, 40 sandpaper and just wore her self-esteem away little by little by little. And, she had a great future. And then what did he do? He got jealous of her future. He couldn't stand it. The other thing I heard is that psychopaths, they do not like to be shown what they consider disrespect. So if she didn't say, oh, he's my fiance or something like that, he could, I think, fly off the handle at anything. And he did. He killed her, probably, allegedly. Anyway, that's it for me. Fake futures. Women, stay away from dudes with fake futures.
Thank you, Charlie, the dog bounty hunter Swanson, for calling in today.
Cheers. Thanks, Tyler. I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Yeah, she brought up a great point, and I kind of said that last night, where I think Gabby really coveted traveling and adventure and seeing new things, and that was the only way for Brian. Let's give him a 3, a generous 3, put Gabby at a 9. That's how he made up that difference, right? And he has no money. Like those little stickers things that he's making for t-shirts, that's not making any cash. Publix grocery store is not making enough money. But if he doesn't do that traveling, he's going to lose Gabby, and he knows it. So She's right. Exactly.
Managra says, on a lighter note, did anyone hear Josh Benson today say he texted Bertolino asking him where Brian was, and Bertolino responded saying, he isn't with you?
Yeah, cocky bugger.
Pride comes before the fall, Mr. Bertolino. Be very, very careful. Thank you for the super chat, Managara. That got us. That got a giggle.
Mm-hmm.
A little giggle.
Hopefully we bring down the whole house of cards with this.
Wouldn't it be great?
Oh yeah, exactly.
I want to shout out Angela, who just made 2 purchases of the Don't Stop book. Thank you, Angela. It means a whole lot. Latrice, you're live and you're on the air. And my name's Tyler, and that's Gavis over there.
Hi, Tyler. Hi, Gavis. Connie. How y'all doing?
Great.
Good.
I have actually had to make notes because I keep losing my train of thought while I'm watching. But next to the last caller, it said something about the TikTok video, and I had my daughter in my ear, so I couldn't hear everything. But she's talking about that sister's phone number being in Brian's phone. There is a way that if you have a Gmail account, you can save it on your Google account. So I'm wondering if anyone has gotten into his account to see who he has in his contacts.
That was a question that came up yesterday about Gabby's Gmail account more specifically, but I would hope that somebody's trying to get into these Gmail things, say, who's he talking to? Has he been talking? You would assume that's part of the process. I don't know. But you would assume somebody's doing it.
I know I was married to a man that knew how to get into stuff. He was a hacker. I don't tell it to everybody, so now
you just
y'all know.
told it to the whole wide world. So
y'all know,
Latrice, your
Thank
secret's out of the bag.
That's okay. It's been 20 years. So this last one was, the other day I came on and I was showing everybody my lanyard with the pepper spray and the Kubotan on it and everything, and me being in a domestic violence relationship before. Everybody was wondering why I wasn't able to talk to them, why I wasn't I was a school bus driver. I went on a trip with everybody. I was away from the whole group because that boyfriend wanted my 100% attention. So I was on the phone with him, talking to him constantly.
Yep.
So basically, he ruined any and all relationships that I had.
I know somebody who made their partner be on FaceTime with them while he was working the whole day. And while she literally 24/7, they were either together or on FaceTime the whole time. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, it wears a person down.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I wore a Bluetooth and this ear still has a problem because of that. So we have a best friend that there's no way I told one girl that I would run her off because this guy has to have control over his women.
Yeah.
So they always have to be number one, first in everything they do, and they're always right. So my main thing for calling is can somebody, not me, I don't know how, get into his Google account and find out what's going on in there, because I'm sure there's something.
Oh, I'm sure people are doing it. So good thought. Thank you, Latrice, for calling in.
Y'all have a great night. God bless.
Mushroom Clouds and Chaos says, perhaps all of the Christians on the channel could do a fast and a prayer so Brian is apprehended sooner. Just a thought. I agree. Thank you for the super chat. Let's pray. And then the fast track to hearing God's results in prayer is called fasting. Fasting, fast track. Think about it like that. Be great. Los Angeles, you're on the line.
Yeah, I called in last night or yesterday. I got my audio went weird, so that's why I bumped out. But I wanted to thank you guys for what you're doing, and I had noticed that on the picture that supposedly Gabby posted on one of the last pictures, the one where it's looking out the van door into the desert. The picture on the back of his shirt is a fly. And he was all upset about how she was upset about flies. She wasn't upset about flies. She didn't bring that up in the interview. He did. And then there's that picture, and then of course the fly image on the last post with the butterfly stuff, which is just really weird and macabre. But so I wanted to bring that up, and then I also wanted to bring up the fact that she's the oldest child of 6 siblings, and not that any parents, want to do this to their kids, but the oldest child tends to take on responsibilities that aren't theirs in the family, of keeping people together and taking on the responsibility for siblings' behaviors and stuff. And so that may have been part of the tie that was there between Brian convincing her that she was responsible for his behaviors, and them being a team of that was bound by dark and light. And when you have light, the darkness is gone, it's dimmed, it's not present type of a scenario. And why she might have been so upset when they were separated, even if she was in danger, because she may have felt that it was her responsibility to keep others from being in danger, like she was apologizing for his behavior at the last restaurant that they were seen at. Anyways, I hope he's found.
Me too.
And it's tragic, but it is one of those ways where they twist it around on you in the domestic violence, where you think you're responsible for them, even if you're the more capable person in the relationship. You're holding down the job. You're the one who's emotionally regulated. They're co-regulating off of you. Because you notice when Gabby was talking about her anxiety, but when she talked about his, there was a visceral response with her. But no, he really has anxiety. It's like she was anxious about his anxiety more than being anxious or OCD. And I think her idea of being OCD was just that she was particular, wanted things to be done in a particular manner, was driven and able to accomplish things. And that wasn't something he liked. So he gave her crazy feedback on it.
Good points. Yeah. Clearly, you're well educated on this. Appreciate your insight. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for your prayers and a nice channel to listen and delve into this on.
Thank you. Keep listening. Amber, thank you for the super sticker. Means a whole lot. Appreciate your support. Thank you for being a part of the Feller fam. Everybody in the Feller fam today, when we're done off the call, be sure to go over to the part where we're like the membership part, because I'm going to put the link to the Facebook group in there today, and I want all of you guys to be part of it if you're on Facebook. Ali M says, Tyler and Gavis are amazing. I am proud to be a part of this fight for the common good. Thank you, Ali. We love you around here. Find GavisCon on Twitch. I put Gavis's Twitch and Discord information in the description of the video, because we talked about that yesterday. It just makes it easier. And Ali, thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for being a part of the Feller fam. I hope you join our Facebook group today. Perplex QT, guess what?
Hey.
You joined the Feller fam today.
I did. I just joined a little while ago.
Thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Do you think my mic, have you been watching for a while, like a few days?
I actually just found you today.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you thought I just switched microphones today and I saw your mic hanging there. And I think I didn't have the filter over it, but I think I was using that same mic, and I switched. This is an XLR mic and it's supposed to be better quality. And so I was just wondering, is it better quality or not? Put it in the chat if you guys are watching, that way I can know. So what are your thoughts? Thank you for calling in.
Okay, I have a couple of thoughts. Let me start with, I will do my very, very best not to curse. It's kind of my thing. So
that's a strong rule we have here. So I appreciate you doing your best job on that.
Do my best. I also cover this case, and my I'm listening to your callers, and I'm listening to the general consensus, and even in my own chats, I hear the general consensus. As a pastor, all right, I don't know how old you are, but let's just say I'm under 60 and I'm above 40, okay? And everybody looking at this case is looking at it from an adult perspective. But these were kids. These were 22 and 23-year-old kids that are at the
I'm
beginning of
closer
their
to
life.
that age than I am to 40.
Okay. But they're like, for me being 50, putting myself back into a 23-year-old mindset, I think differently. And I feel like a lot of people are judging this case from an adult perspective, from an over 40 perspective, already living life. And, you know, it's very easy to put Brian as this narcissist, as this beater. Meanwhile, none of the evidence, obviously besides the death, but none of the evidence prior to this trip did anybody have anything bad to say about Brian at all, or Gabby for that matter. They've known each other since high school. I grew up about 20 minutes from them, but they knew each other from high school. They've been on and off since high school. And I think if there were signs that he was this horrible person, and believe me, I know he killed her, but that he was this horrible person, somebody would have noticed it prior to her death. And I don't know, I just feel like everybody, general consensus is using what I believe was a horrible, I mean, I have it pegged exactly how he did it, but it was an accident. Like, he purposely killed her, but he did it just because he couldn't stop. And it was in a fit of anger. Now he's on the run because he ran. I know that's not general consensus, but putting myself in the mind of a 23-year-old, that's how I see it. So I wanted to hear it from a pastor perspective, what you thought. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I definitely think there was a lot of toxicity in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Their brains are still forming. We know that until they turn 25. I have a very spiritual perspective that I don't think that you can consume only things with your eyes and ears that are dark and it not impact you in some way. And so we see how Brian expresses himself after he's full of consumption of things that I would call evil. So the books he was reading, the podcasts he was listening to, the movies he was interested in, very dark. Everyone virtually agrees with that. That doesn't make you a killer. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if that's the main source, and possibly for him, I don't know any other interests he has. He's not interested in the Cardinals like I am. I don't know what his release is. The only thing I know other than that he was into was video games that also were not very nice from what I understood. It wasn't like low grade games. It was like intense games. So from my perspective, there's a spiritual component to this. My pastoral world, we would call it demonic. And that's what Dog the Bounty Hunter sort of in my world a little bit on that stuff. He was misinterpreted publicly when he said it. So I'm a little apprehensive to talk about it. I am going to go live with another pastor tomorrow on their channel and talk more specifically about our spiritual perspective on this.
Okay.
Because I told them, I'm like, my channel, I reserve some of my spiritual thoughts. And he doesn't talk about this case. He talks about spiritual stuff, but he wants me to come on and talk about this case and do the spiritual spin on it. Because on this channel, I don't really go super deep into the spiritual stuff, but I think he was consuming a lot of stuff that wasn't good. And then when he expresses it through his art, it was very dark. His artwork was very dark. It was ribs and blood and Hellboy and demons and Holy Zoidberg stuff. That was his interpretation of it. It was very dark, in my opinion. And so I think there's a greater influence than just the young couple that was in love that became toxic, from my perspective.
But wouldn't you agree that plenty of video games are negative and plenty of people that, would never even think to harm somebody or into that dark stuff without being.
So I have a friend who's the highest ranking murder detective in my state.
Okay.
And he's told me the number one thing that they tell people is look at what video games they're playing. They teach it in all of their trainings.
I gotta disagree with that.
I'm just telling you. They said they are going into schools and different things and saying, listen, you got to be careful what kind of video games they're playing. He went home and because he had some little nephews and stuff that are coming over, threw the video games away.
I don't know. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think that some of these video games, even though they have some violence and stuff in them, I think they're great communities for a lot of these young kids to get together and build bonds.
Out.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm just telling you from a perspective that wasn't spiritual,
Mhm.
from a government perspective, they said, go look at the video games. That's not my words. That's a non-spiritual words, not my words. So anyways, it's just a perspective too. Like I'm not saying it's the way. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying it's a perspective, and that's one of the things that we've done on this channel since you're new to it, is like we allow a lot of different perspectives. I love your perspective, your thoughts on it. You're welcome to share those. I thank you for sharing those. They're kind of in the minority a little bit around here, but you're welcome to share those. And Gavis and I, he helps me a lot. We're on opposites on some things. A lot of things we're similar on. But it's sort of the yin and the yang, kind of the flow of how we do it.
No, I could definitely learn from you on that. Because I saw the way you handled some things. I was like, I could definitely learn from this guy on that. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perplexed. I've got a 3-hour and 44-minute long video that goes through and it ties in all the artwork. I take questions from people as I go through it.
Okay.
And go watch that. And by the end of it, you'll be like, darn, I didn't see all that. Wow.
I get it. I'm just a big believer. I grew up in an age where they try to say Ozzy Osbourne was, biting off bats' heads and that was causing suicide. So growing up in that era, it's now instead of music, it's video games. And that's why I don't really.
It's not exclusively. I'm not saying it is exclusively video games. I'm just saying when your only source of consumption are the collection of all of those things, it's impossible for it not to impact you. In my opinion, like it has what you put in your eyes and what you put in your ears. From my perspective as a pastor, the Bible says it rests in your heart, and the scripture teaches what's in your heart comes out. Every action we have begins as a thought. Think about an oak tree. The oak tree began as an acorn. It's a little seedling that grew into something. Every thought we have is like a little seedling that ends up growing into something. Mm-hmm. And when we're constantly putting in our ears and in our eyes things that are a certain type of way, it's going to rest in our heart as a little seedling. And if we don't get in front of that, if we're not careful with that, if we don't have something to counterbalance it, it starts expressing itself in terrible ways. Grabbing of the face.
Okay. And my final question is on Brian. With him disappearing, with him out there, from a spiritual perspective, I know that you said you believe he's still alive. What do you think about him running and hiding instead of facing his consequences?
Yeah, I think it's the natural tendency of any human would probably, like, that's probably what we're going to lean ourselves into. Like the natural sort of inclination that I think any human has in this type of situation when they've done something bad is to go run and hide. Mm-hmm. I hate it. I don't want him to run and hide. I want an opportunity. From my perspective, I wish I had an opportunity to pray with him and talk with him and counsel him and help him. If he's not a psychopath or a narcissist and has an ability to have emotions, at this point, I doubt it, because how could you do that? If he's guilty, allegedly, mm-hmm. and had that conversation, if his family's hiding him is an even bigger issue, right? If his family's involved, that's an even bigger issue.
They've got to be involved. They have to be.
It looks like it from my perspective, but I don't know what the FBI is telling them they can't tell and what they're allowed to tell, right? If he's out there hiding. I think there's some level of involvement from, some things going on in his mind that has to be haunting him. So the only thing about, and I don't believe it was true, but the only thing about that hiker story, the Dennis Davis hiker story that I agreed with was like, he could be being tormented so bad that when he talks to this hiker guy, he's like, I'm trying to get to California, blah, 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 blah. My girlfriend's gone missing, and like whatever, just like going crazy. And that's the only part of that. I'm like, he could be so tormented. He's like 3 layers gone in his right mind at this point.
But if he's a narcissist or a psychopath, he's not. He's going to be fine. He's going to be like, ha ha, I beat that.
He's going to be like the pictures we seen of him Fort DeSoto hanging out with his nephews, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and watch out what might come on Halloween.
Yeah, the indications of like the Halloween post and just, be careful, I guess.
Do you think he's still in the U.S.?
I have 4 theories. I think he's possibly in Florida. I think he's possibly on the Appalachian Trail. I think he's out in Central America somewhere. I think in the other ones, I think the lawyer could be using a sub-agency to hide him safely somewhere.
You really think the lawyer's involved? See, I don't think the lawyer's involved. I think the lawyer's too much of an idiot.
I don't know. I don't really think the lawyer's involved, but it's a theory that I have. Like I'm just trying to build out all the different tangles that could be. And I don't have much weight in that one, but I've seen enough things that's like sometimes lawyers have connections and they don't actually do it, but they know the person that they need to talk to do it. And so that they're covered, but they make sure that things are moved around in such a way that he's in a safe place. They know where he's at. He's acting pretty cocky. The Bertolino's acting pretty cocky for a client that they're spending $200,000 a day to try to find. They're busting down doors of innocent people to try to find. The lawyer's acting pretty cocky right now. And it's those he's bad-mouthing Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's bad-mouthing and in a really sort of like taunting way. Like, come at me, you old, crepid whatever. John Walsh just trying to get your minute of fame. Like, John Walsh, who's put 1,400 people behind bars, who's dedicated his entire life to the guy's coming at. And so for me, Bertolino, in my opinion, he's pretty cocky for a guy that wouldn't know whether or not a client's dead or alive. So in my opinion, I'm like, I think he thinks his client is alive, possibly knows where he's at based on the way he's acting. That's why, again, I don't have a lot of weight in that one. If I put the most weight into one based on the yacht stuff, I would say possibly in Central America somewhere, a safe Central American country. I don't think that's Honduras. Where are there a lot of Americans living safely? Tourist cities in Mexico. The cartel wants those to be successful because they have ownership of the big resorts, and a lot of them half ownership or a third ownership. I heard a cartel guy talk about this. I went on depth about who's owning these resorts that are in these cities. How are they safe for Americans to go to? Well, the cartel's making the money off of them. So that's how they're safe. Okay. So in a cartel ran city where it's safe for Americans to travel to because they want it to be safe, so Americans will travel there and spend their money, and then they have ways to push their money into those enterprises. So in Mexico, possibly. Costa Rica is a safe place for some Americans to live. Honduras is not. You got to go through the countries and say, where can Americans live safely?
Do you think a white guy who's the most wanted man in America right now would be even safe with the cartel?
Dr. Espinoza from Mexico called yesterday and said most people in Mexico don't even know what's going on because, especially in rural parts, because they have no access to any of that information. But I think a white guy who looks like 10,000 people in North America right now is hiding in plain sight. Wear a mask across your face. I have people that I know that I see in the store come up and talk to me, and I don't know who they are sometimes because they're wearing a mask. And I'm like, I know them well, but they look I'm not sure who this is. They got a hat on, they got a mask on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I think I know who I'm talking to, but I'm not 100% sure. Their voice is a little muffled. So you wear a full bandana mask. This is what you look like.
I agree. Mask, sunglasses, and a hat. You'd never know it was him.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
You have great questions.
I'm trying to think. I guess that's it. So I want to thank you for having me up, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome.
Bye.
John sent a super chat. Thank you, John, for the super chat. You said Tyler and Gavs, Andy from Popcorn Planet is doing a show at the Laundrie House on Friday. He's releasing 1,000 butterflies. He raised $2,000 to do this. Awesome. Great for Andy. Megan said this. Megan, thank you for being a part of the Feller fam. Thank you for sending the super chat. You said, keep in mind also that all of Brian Laundrie's art was copies or recreations of other people's art. He didn't create anything original. Noted. Haven't you mentioned that, Gavin?
Yeah, he's average, guys. He likes to think he's the best hiker in the world. He likes to think he's the best survivalist in the world, best artist. No, he's a fraud.
Southern Gal Gin, October 31st, which is a Sunday, by the way. And also, I heard something about Mom's friend of the Laundries. Any news on that? I heard it from a friend of mine. I don't know where it came from. So the mom's friend of the Laundries just basically came out and was defending them and saying any of us would be protecting our mom or our kids at this time, whatever. Like it was a statement basically saying like, hey, we're judging the Laundrie family too quickly. And if you're the best friend of Roberta Laundrie, I think you would say that. But thank you, Southern Gal Jin, for the super chat. I hope you join our Facebook group. Purple XQT. I didn't curse. Go me. Proud of you. I know you said that's your thing. So I couldn't imagine if my thing's talking about the Bible or spiritual wins not being able to do that. In fact, that's my fear sometimes whenever I'm on interviews. I'm like, am I allowed to talk about the Bible? I was on a TV interview not that long ago, and I was like, they're interviewing me about my book. And I was like, am I allowed to talk about the Bible here? So on Fox. And they're like, yeah, well, you can talk about anything. I was like, okay, good. Made me feel a little bit nervous. Michael, he's definitely on the Appalachian Trail or has been. Also, do you think Brian Laundrie thought at any point this story would get this big? Thank you for a great form. Michael, no, I don't think he thought it was going to be this big. I thought he was going to go home and that was sort of going to be the end of it. And it was going to be like he had a story he was going to tell when they came looking for Gabby. And didn't happen because Red, White, and Bethune, thank you, Jesus, drove by with their cameras on and they were able to find the missing person in a very short amount of time. And so that's what did you think about that, Gavis?
I'm sorry, what was that? What about?
The question that was on this super chat.
The Appalachian Trail?
No,
definitely
about the story getting big.
Oh, no. The lawyer wasn't prepared for this. He's never handled a case this big. So this was, I think he didn't handle the Laundries on the beginning very well. They had no contact with the media, and the media just started, becoming sharks and trying to find out more. And we just haven't been given anything since.
I want to shout out Stacy and Edie Ruth, who made a purchase of the Don't Stop book. Thank you guys for your pre-order. I'm kind of nervous because Gabbis, can you imagine working for something on a few years and then you're releasing it to the public and then people are buying it? And like, I hope people really like it.
Don't hope, just do it right the first time. It takes less time to do something right the first time than to explain why you didn't.
I worked very hard on it. So
there you go.
Clark, the Doberman, how are you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
I have a question for you before you ask me a question.
Yeah, no problem.
Why are so many tattoo artists? And the reason I thought about this today is because I have a restaurant that I really like in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's I don't want to get into it. It's a nice restaurant, but it's a really good restaurant, and they're doing a collaboration with a famous tattoo artist. And so I clicked, and they posted on Instagram today. So I clicked on it, and I went to it, and it was like all skulls, demonic stuff. Why are there so? And I would think that Brian Laundrie in one of his lives would have wanted to be a tattoo artist based off of his Pinterest. He had an interest in that, and he was a good artist. Why are there so many tattoo artists that are inspired by that type of artwork?
Like the morbid stuff?
The morbid stuff, the demonic looking demon type stuff, the skulls and bones and things like that.
Well, I think a lot of it with the skulls and stuff is fairly traditional, back to like your Navy days and World War IIs and stuff. But skulls and everything, I mean, they're very easy to do. For one thing, it's quite easy. I think a lot of that morbid stuff is probably just our Western culture. You know, you don't see that kind of stuff in Japanese tattoo art and stuff. You see a lot of koi fishes and things like that.
Okay.
I think it's mostly Western.
That's
I think
an
it's a
interesting
Western thing.
perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay,
That's
thank you.
what I think. About what your perplexed cutie, the girl before here, was talking about, I tend to be on agreement about his age, and we're tending to kind of think more maturely than he would. I know I've been putting myself back in my early 20s and stuff while I think about this case, and it makes sense the way he ran home. I know getting in trouble when I was in my early 20s. I mean, you're freshly out of the nest. You still right away instinctually, mommy and daddy protect me whenever you're in any kind of trouble. You're not used to dealing with it yourself. You just right away run to your parents. And that seems to be what he did, which makes sense if this was just a, heat of the moment type fit of rage. Just this kind of happened and he ran home to who can protect. I don't think he's really smart enough to be doing this on his own. Somebody else is doing all this thinking for him right now to keep him hidden. He's too young and, too much bravado and all that to really be thoughtful enough to keep himself hidden. He wouldn't. I don't think he would. And another thing I wanted to touch on, I know it's really not about Brian and stuff like that, but in a way it is the whole video games and all that stuff in today's, culture and everything. I don't know. I do know that something is different today than when I was younger. I graduated in '93, and I know that the country kids that lived out on the ranches and stuff, they drive their trucks to school with guns in the gun rack in the back window, and windows would be down, doors unlocked all day. We never had school shootings, metal detectors, nothing. So something is different in today's society just a couple of decades later. I think a lot of it is what we're teaching our kids.
When I was in school, which I grew up in the middle of nowhere, a town of 244 people, but people literally had guns in their car when we were at school. Like they had shotguns hanging in their truck.
Yeah, that's what I said. They had, guns in the gun rack in the back of the country boys had them right there in the back windows, and nobody would take them. Nobody got shot. And when you think about what I would talk about in his posts and stuff about how people are just chimpanzees and they're destroying the planet, I think a lot of it is the worldview that the younger generations have now. They don't respect life. There's no sanctity to life. You're an amoeba, you're nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of it is what these kids are learning these. I don't know how much of it has to do with the games. I agree with you. You start putting a lot of dark stuff and consuming that, we're told not to put evil things in front of our eyes. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on.
That post you were talking about was on August 13th. And I think within about 8 hours is when Kylan and Crystal were murdered after he made that post.
Oh, the one about the chimpanzees and type thing? Yeah.
Yeah, if you look when that was posted, it was August 13th.
Yeah, they just, the younger generations, and it's not only them, but, when you have a viewpoint that life, there's nothing precious about it. You're just an accident and the universe doesn't care about you. You're nothingness and stuff. You don't have any value to life. So when you're got your arms around someone's neck, what does it matter? It's a cockroach or whatever. It's a nuisance. There's nothing sanctified there. But yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Good eye.
Valerie says, do we know where Christopher and Roberta were between the 27th and September 1st? I'm not sure if it matters, but I can't help but wonder. I have heard no report of where they were at. Valerie, thank you for the super chat. Did you hear anything, Gavin?
On September 1st, they were waiting for Brian to drive home and head over to Cassie's.
Okay. We know that on September 1st, but I don't know about the days before that. I know they were planning to go camping and ended up canceling it.
All right.
So I want to do something. I want to go over, and I want to go over it in such a way too that we can cut it out and post it on its own. I want to go over the timeline for Kylan and Crystal. because I think we need to spend some energy thinking about that as well. Don't you?
I've gone through it so many times.
I want to go over
My
the one that
God.
Bridget sent me.
Oh, okay.
I mean, don't feel like you have to be on here if you don't want to.
No, it's not that. It's just I keep getting asked about the whole thing and go through the whole thing again. And I'm just like, come on, if you have a question or there's resources you can go look at.
So what I want to do is go over the Kylan and Crystal timeline that Bridget sent me. And then if people have questions, they can send the questions and we'll
Right.
do our best to answer them. But I want to cut this up just so people can see from Bridget's perspective what they were thinking was happening with Kylan and Crystal case. So Kylan and Crystal is a double homicide that happened in Moab, Utah. In 2015, one of the first things we learned about it was Kylan's brother, Mackian. A lot of people don't know that. Kylan had a brother named Mackian who got shot and killed in Billings, Montana. In 2016, Kylan moved to Utah, Moab, Utah specifically. 2017, that's several years ago. She started working at the Moonflower. In 2019, Kylan and Crystal go from friends to girlfriends. The date is approximate. August 30th, 2020, Kylan and Crystal finished their van life conversion. This was their home of choice for Moab. Why house, they say, when you can hashtag van life? At a wedding in April 20th of 2021. And Kylan's last shift, this is where we start getting into some of the details that a lot of people are interested in. Kylan's last shift at the Moonflower was from 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Kylan and Crystal thought to be tent camping in the LaSalle Mountains instead of staying in their van. And then on the 13th, they were last seen. Kylan and Crystal were seen at the Woody's Tavern in Moab. It's the last time anyone saw or spoke to them. And if we could zoom in, you guys would see that sort of some security footage of them at the Woody's Tavern. During this visit, they told their friends that someone was creeping them out and they needed to move sites. On the 15th, Crystal was a no-call, no-show for work at McDonald's. And on the 16th, Crystal's no-call, no-show for work at McDonald's again. Kylan was a no-call, no-show at the Moonflower. And this caused some people to be interested in what was possibly happening. So they contacted the local police. The 17th, again, a no-call, no-show by Kylan at the Moonflower. At this point, Kylan's dad pushes local police for a missing person. It seems like the best they could do is an attempt to locate. The issue here is the girls' Econoline van and Harley Davidson were parked in town. If they willingly left, they would not just leave the Harley for an extended period of time. It would be in storage with them. August 18th, 2021, Kylan's aunt starts a Facebook group, Finding Kylan and Crystal Missing Persons, Moab, Utah. That page grew to about 11,000 people. On August 18th, 2021, Kylan's dad, whose name is Sean Paul, he begs Moab for help to find his girls. We know it's not just an ATL, but that they are missing, which is attempt to locate. On the 17th, 18th, he posts everywhere on Facebook asking, can anyone help us find them? Finally, on the 18th, Cindy Sue Hunter confirms with family the vehicle the girls are most likely driving. She packs up supplies. She fills with gas to search as long as she would need. What'd she say, Gavis? She's I'm gonna go until it's dark outside, I run out of energy, or I run out of gas, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So Cindy Sue then locates the girl's silver Kia, and unfortunately, she also locates a body. She sees the vehicle. She calls Sean Paul on the phone. She approaches the site and then sees a body. He tells her to get in her car, lock the doors, and call the police, and she did. Upon the authorities' arrival, the second body was found, and both confirmed Kylan and Crystal. Photos show the map's location. So you can see here on the LaSalle Loop Road where they were parked at. And it was so close to a wedding venue. On the 18th, Ruth, the bunny, found unharmed at the scene, and she's now happily rehomed. On 19th, the Facebook group's updated to be called Justice for Kylan and Crystal, Moab, Utah. Extended family begins to assist in the administration of it. On the 19th, the cause of death, according to the Grand County Sheriff, provides press relief that the cause of death is gunshot wounds. The 22nd, there's a candlelight vigil that's held in Moab for Kylan and Crystal. On the 24th, the Grand County Sheriff goes live on Facebook and issues a statement sharing a commitment to the case and reiterating public safety. While there's no suspect, the sheriff has continued to say there is no danger to the public. And I found that interesting when you hear Cindy Sue talk about it. She said, how can they say there's no danger to the public when we don't know who the guy is? How's there not danger to the public when we don't know who the guy who did this is? On the 25th, the bodies are released from the crime lab for transport to their home state for services. This process seemed daunting and long. No details were shared, no progress on a suspect, and unable to plan services while awaiting the release of the bodies. It is not known by the family if the DNA from a suspect was collected in any manner. I wish we knew that. I wish we knew if there's a toxicology report. I wish we knew if there was outside DNA on the body. I wish we knew the ballistics of the weapon that was used. The Grand County Sheriff on the 31st announces that a local business contractor offered a $10,000 reward providing pertinent information that would lead to the arrest and conviction of a double homicide. On the 31st, Kylan is laid to rest in Montana with her brother Mackian, and I didn't know this until I went through this timeline, and her daughter Blake. I didn't know she had a daughter Blake that had passed away. Can you imagine Sean Paul, what he's had to go through? He's had to go through the loss of a son that was murdered. He's had to go through the loss of a granddaughter. He's had to go through the loss of a daughter and a daughter-in-law that was murdered. My heart breaks for Sean Paul. September 1st, Crystal laid to rest in Arkansas by her family's wishes. September 2nd, the Grand County is now announcing a second $10,000 reward from Sacred Earth, now making it a $20,000 reward for any information that would lead to an arrest or conviction in the double homicide case. On September 4th, Sean Paul, Kylan's dad, arrives in Moab to start looking for clues himself. The family still does not have answers. On September 8th, press releases start to include a search warrant obtained to search the Econoline van. The warrant included how the bodies were found. This is how the family finds out the actual details of the death. I hate that. How come there's no communication on how things happen? Like, at least give them a day to process it before it becomes public information. They find out when it becomes public information. In a nearby creek, 2 female bodies were found. The bodies were identified as belonging to Crystal Turner and her wife, Kylan Schulte. Both women were undressed from the waist down. One of the females had on a bra that was raised to expose her breasts, while the second female was dressed in only a tank top. Investigators located multiple gunshot wounds on both bodies. The wounds were located on the backs, sides, and chests of the victims. It should be noted that these 2 females were reported missing on August 16th, 2021. Gabby Petito on September 11th is reported missing, and the internet starts to find coincidences between the cases. The Grand County Sheriff issues a press release that they are exploring the connection between Gabby's disappearance and Kylan and Crystal's deaths. On the 17th, Moab community holds a memorial for Kylan and Crystal. On the 17th, again, the Grand County Sheriff issues a press release saying that the cases are not related. There is no explanation. There is speculation from the online community that this is a strategy. At the time, missing person and double homicide not technically related. However, could more develop as more details are revealed. On the 22nd, Kylan's dad continues to work clues and offer a way to report information. We do not have answers. We do not know if there's DNA. We do not know if we have any suspects. Photo shows the Swanee Park clue booth Sean Paul has been working at almost every day in September. Kylan's own dad is boots on the ground. Spread our message. Find justice. So that's the rundown of the timeline that Bridget.
Yeah, I thought you were asking me to do that in my head, and that's why I was like, are you kidding me? I have to do the whole timeline in my head right now?
No. I just wanted to go through what Bridget was saying because I think it's important that we continue to talk about this case. Mm-hmm. And, if Brian's connected, then we need to with evidence that is more than just, what we think, actual evidence, then connect them. Or there's a chance they're not connected. And then if that's the case, folks in the Feller fam, folks on the YouTube stream, folks on the Discord, we've got to work together now to find 2 situations. We've got to resolve 2 situations.
Well, I think I've already posted enough evidence to put a definite link between the 2. my video that I posted almost a week and a half ago now. I'll make another one tomorrow, make it absolutely crystal clear for everyone. But she's got a few things.
I want to stay away. I want to stay away from that, just because there's going to be people watching this that are. I just want to talk about Kyla and Crystal, and if they're not connected or whatever, you know what I mean. Like we spent, and I'm not. I'm doing that because I think it's important for us to talk about it as if they're not right now. Purple perplexed cutie says Brian isn't connected. I can't see anyone see him as the creepy guy. He doesn't really fit the profile. It's a good thought. Stacy, the school tried to get me to put the boys on real in first grade. They're adults now. I don't think that has to do with this situation. Gavis, what I'm wanting to do is, and now I'm gonna have to cut it before that, where I'm needing to make videos where they're not connected that we can cut and put out separately, and they can't contain information that's attached to other things. You get what I'm saying? It's like we got to start doing that, especially on this case, so that people who are searching for this case find this case and can sink into it. It's like important for finding what's happening. There's a lot of people that are involved in this that don't think Brian's related at all, and so we got to build it out in that kind of a way.
I can't be a part of that. I'm sorry.
So you're 100% sure that Brian's involved? You're muted.
I'm not 100% on anything. I'm 99% he's involved. I can't do anything that I think he's not. Sorry.
Lita says, Gavis, do you have absolute proof that Brian had a gun on him during the trip?
I don't think anybody has absolute proof that Brian had a gun.
I mean, I think they're connected too, but I want to create.
Well, then why would you have me go and try to say that they're not?
I want to create it in a way that we're not saying, like, without a shadow of a doubt, go watch this other content on some other thing where we prove it.
That's not what I do. I do the facts and I present it. And maybe there's somebody better to do that, because it's not going to be me.
Cian says, had he been the creepy guy, I think they would have described him more. If it had been Brian, they would have said the guy from the moon.
We can't confirm if it's Brian is the creepy guy or not. If Brian at nighttime could have been very creepy, and they could have moved. And the new site, I think Brian could have found it within an hour. If Cindy Sue can find them in 5 hours, and the police can't find them at all on the 16th, Brian and Gabby know that area well. They would have been able to find them very quickly.
Michael, I'm not flip-flopping on this issue. I think there's a lot of people that are not connected to the Gabby and Brian case that are thinking about